What happens when the unpredictable ninja who never gives up inherits the raw, terrifying power of the strongest creature alive? Naruto Uzumaki becomes something the shinobi world has never seen before, a force of nature that makes even the gods tremble. This isn't the Naruto you know. This is the Ogre reborn, and today we're diving into the most insane transformation that will shatter everything you thought possible.
The training ground exploded. Naruto Uzumaki stood at the epicenter of devastation, his fist still extended from the punch that had just cratered the earth beneath him. Dust and debris hung in the air like a funeral shroud. Around the perimeter, a dozen academy students who'd been foolish enough to challenge him lay scattered like broken dolls, unconscious, bleeding, groaning. Some would need medical attention, others would need therapy. Pathetic, Naruto said, rolling his shoulders. His voice carried the casual dismissiveness of someone commenting on the weather. You call that a fight? I call it a waste of my time. He was 12 years old and built like a predator. Where other kids his age remained gangly and awkward, Naruto possessed a physique that made Jonin double take, muscular, imposing, radiating physical dominance. His orange jacket struggled to contain shoulders that had no business on a genin's frame. When he moved, it was with the fluid confidence of something born to hunt. A Chunin instructor nearby swallowed hard, hand trembling near his weapon pouch. He'd watched the entire exchange. 12 academy students, all working together with basic combination tactics, and Naruto had demolished them in under 90 seconds, without using a single jutsu. Just his fists, his speed, and that terrifying smile he wore while fighting. Uzumaki, the instructor, managed, trying to inject authority into his voice and failing spectacularly. That was excessive force. These are your fellow. Naruto's eyes locked onto him, cold, empty of mercy. The instructor's words died in his throat. They attacked me, Naruto stated flatly. The weak don't get to choose how they die. They're lucky I was feeling generous. He glanced at the groaning students. They'll heal. Probably. The instructor said nothing else. What could he say? Naruto Uzumaki was the village's worst-kept secret and greatest asset rolled into one terrifying package. The boy who somehow absorbed the Nine Tails' power and transcended what it meant to be shinobi. The monster everyone whispered about. The Ogre of Konoha, Naruto turned away from the carnage, cracking his knuckles. Tomorrow was team assignments. Finally, something that might prove interesting. He doubted it, though. In this world, there were only two types of people, the strong and the prey. The academy classroom buzzed with nervous energy the next morning. Fresh genin sat in clusters, speculating about their team assignments, wondering which Jonin sensei they'd receive, hoping to avoid certain notorious instructors. Naruto sat alone in the back row, feet propped on the desk, eyes closed. To the casual observer, he appeared to be sleeping. In reality, he was listening to every conversation in the room simultaneously, processing information with the instinctive genius of a born predator, analyzing its hunting ground. Heard Team 7 is getting Kakashi Hatake. Lucky, he's supposed to be amazing. As long as I don't get stuck with that freak Naruto. Seriously, did you see what he did yesterday? 12 guys. Monster, that's what he is. Naruto's lips curved into the ghost of a smile. Monster, freak, ogre. They weren't wrong. But they also didn't understand. He wasn't some tragic figure struggling with his power, seeking their acceptance. He was simply strong. Being strong meant being strong. That's all there was to it. The door slammed open. Iruka Umino entered, carrying a clipboard and wearing his characteristic expression of exhausted determination. The man had survived teaching Naruto for 6 years. That alone qualified him for S-rank status and mental fortitude. All right, settle down, Iruka announced. I'll be announcing your team assignments. When your name is called, meet with your designated Jonin instructor. He began reading names. Naruto tuned it out until Team Fist, Iruka said, and several students perked up. It was an unusual name. Most teams were simply numbered. Uzumaki Naruto, Rock Lee, and Hyuga Neji. Your Jonin instructor is Might Guy. Naruto opened his eyes. Now that was interesting. Across the room, Rock Lee, a boy with a bowl cut and impossibly large eyebrows, looked like someone had just gifted him the universe. His eyes gleamed with tears of joy. Yes! I have been assigned to learn alongside the legendary Naruto-kun. This is fate. Next to him, Neji Hyuga displayed the opposite reaction. The Hyuga prodigy's face twisted into an expression somewhere between insulted and disgusted. His Byakugan-enhanced eyes fixed on Naruto with barely concealed contempt. I'm supposed to work with that barbarian? The academy dropout who only knows how to throw punches like a common thug? Naruto's smile widened. Oh, this was going to be fun. The meeting point was Training Ground 3, an open field dotted with training posts and equipment. Naruto arrived first, as expected. He could move faster than most jonin when he felt like it, though he rarely saw the need. Speed was just another tool in his arsenal. Rock Lee arrived moments later, practically vibrating with excitement. The kid wore a green jumpsuit that matched his enthusiasm, garish, loud, impossible to ignore. He immediately bowed deeply toward Naruto. Naruto-kun, it is an honor to be assigned to your team. I have witnessed your incredible displays of taijutsu prowess. Your physical conditioning is extraordinary. Your technique is... You talk too much, Naruto interrupted, not unkindly. He studied Lee with casual interest. The kid had potential. Naruto could see it in the way he carried himself. The calluses on his hands, the muscle definition suggesting countless hours of training. But you work hard. I can respect that. Lee's eyes literally sparkled with tears. You respect my hard work? Naruto-kun, I will not let you down. My flames of youth burn brighter than ever. Still talking too much. Neji arrived third, walking with the measured grace typical of the Hyuga clan. His long hair was tied back, and his traditional clan robes were immaculate. Everything about him screamed superiority complex and aristocratic disdain. His pale eyes swept over Naruto and Lee with obvious disappointment. So this is my team, Neji said coldly. A brute who only knows violence and a failure who can't even perform basic ninjutsu. The clan elders must think this is amusing. Naruto examined Neji the way a lion examines a particularly verbose rabbit. You've got a stick so far up your ass, I'm surprised you can walk. Must be that famous Hyuga superiority acting up. Neji's face flushed with anger. How dare you? Yosh, all my adorable students are here. The voice boomed across the training ground like a declaration of war. A figure appeared in a swirl of leaves and overwhelming enthusiasm. A man in a green jumpsuit identical to Lee's, with a shining bowl cut, impossibly thick eyebrows, and a smile bright enough to weaponize. Might Guy struck a dramatic pose, one thumb raised toward the sky. I am Might Guy, the beautiful green beast of Konoha, and you three are now Team Fist, the most youthful and passionate team in shinobi history. Lee immediately mirrored the pose. Guy-sensei, your presence fills me with incredible motivation. Lee, your youthful spirit moves me to tears. Guy-sensei, Lee. They embraced, crying actual tears while sparkles seemed to materialize around them. Neji looked like he wanted to die. Naruto watched with mild amusement. Guy released Lee and turned his attention to his three students, his expression shifting to something more serious despite the maintained smile. Now then, let me explain why this team was formed. Team Fist is not a traditional Genin squad. We are specialists. Our focus is taijutsu, close quarters combat, and physical superiority. We are the answer to a very specific question. What happens when shinobi abandon tricks and gimmicks and focus purely on the power of the human body? An idiotic waste of potential, Neji muttered. Ninjutsu and genjutsu are what separate shinobi from common brawlers. Guy's eyes opened fully, a rare sight that made even Neji pause. Is that what you truly believe, Neji? That physical prowess is somehow lesser? It's obvious, Neji said, though his confidence wavered slightly under Guy's intense stare. The Hyuga Gentle Fist requires both taijutsu skill and chakra manipulation. Raw strength without refinement is just barbarism. Then I'll demonstrate something, Guy said. His smile returned, but there was steel beneath it now. Naruto, would you mind helping me with a teaching moment? Naruto stood, stretching languidly. You want to fight me, old man? Just a brief exchange. Nothing serious. I simply want to show Neji the difference between barbarism and mastery. Guy took a ready stance. Come at me with your full speed. Don't hold back. Never do, Naruto said. He moved. To Lee's credit, his eyes actually tracked the movement, barely. Neji's Byakugan caught the blur of motion, but neither of them saw the exchange that followed. Naruto closed the distance in a fraction of a second, his fist aimed at Guy's center mass with enough force to shatter concrete. Guy deflected with a perfect economy of motion, redirected Naruto's momentum, and counterstruck at 3 pressure points simultaneously. Naruto twisted mid-air, avoided 2 of the 3 strikes, absorbed the 3rd by tensing his muscles, and launched a spinning kick that would have decapitated most jonin. Guy ducked beneath it, swept Naruto's standing leg, and transitioned into a palm strike that Naruto blocked with his forearm. The impact created a shockwave that kicked up dust. They separated, having exchanged 20 moves in less than 3 seconds. Excellent, Guy beamed. Your dress technique is improving. You're flowing around attacks with minimal wasted energy. You're faster than you look, old man, Naruto acknowledged, genuinely impressed. Most jonin would be paced right now, Guy laughed. And that, my students, is what mastery looks like. He addressed Neji directly. Did you see it? The precision, the efficiency, the way every movement had purpose? This is what taijutsu becomes in the hands of true practitioners, not barbarism, art. Neji said nothing, but his expression had shifted from contempt to grudging thoughtfulness. Now, Guy's enthusiasm returned to maximum levels. Before we begin our youthful training, we must complete the traditional team bonding exercise. Each of you will share something about yourselves, your dreams, your goals, what drives you forward. Lee's hand shot up. May I go first, Guy-sensei? Of course, Lee. My name is Rock Lee. My dream is to prove that hard work can surpass natural genius. I cannot use ninjutsu or genjutsu, but I will become a splendid shinobi through taijutsu alone. I will show the world that dedication and effort can overcome any obstacle. He looked at Naruto with undisguised admiration. And I hope to one day be as powerful as Naruto-kun. Guy wiped away a tear. Beautiful. Your passion ignites my soul. Neji, you're next. Neji crossed his arms. My name is Neji Hyuga. I am the genius of the Hyuga clan, destined for greatness, whether I wish it or not. My goal is to prove that fate determines everything, and that hard work is ultimately meaningless against those born superior. The temperature dropped. Lee looked stricken. Guy's smile tightened into something more forced. Naruto laughed, a short, sharp bark of amusement. Destiny? Fate? Is that what you Hyuga tell yourselves to feel special? He met Neji's glare with utter indifference. Let me tell you something about fate, princess. I've met destiny. I've spat in its face. The idea that anything except strength matters is a fairy tale the weak tell themselves to explain why they're weak. You don't understand, Neji began. I understand perfectly, Naruto interrupted. You're a bird in a cage calling it destiny because accepting the bars is easier than breaking them. It's pathetic. Neji's hands clenched into fists. His Byakugan activated involuntarily, veins bulging around his eyes. You know nothing about the Hyuga clan, about the curse seal, about don't care, Naruto said flatly. Your clan politics aren't my problem. What matters is whether you're strong enough to stand beside me in combat. Everything else is noise. Guy stepped between them before the tension could escalate further. Enough. Neji, Naruto has a point, even if his delivery lacks tact. Your fate is what you make of it through your actions. Naruto, you're next. Please share your dream and goal. Naruto was quiet for a moment, considering. When he spoke, his voice carried absolute certainty. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I don't have dreams. I have reality. I am the strongest creature in the shinobi world, and I'll prove it by crushing anyone who challenges that fact. Missions, enemies, traditions, none of it matters. There is only strength and weakness. I'm the former. Everything else is the latter. Silence. Lee looked simultaneously awed and slightly disturbed. Neji appeared caught between offense and grudging acknowledgement. Guy studied Naruto with an expression difficult to read. Part concern, part recognition, part something else entirely. I see, Guy finally said. Well then, it seems I have quite the diverse team. A dreamer, a fatalist, and an absolutist. This will certainly be interesting. His smile returned, genuine and warm. But make no mistake, all three of you, Team Fist exists for one purpose, to become the strongest close combat unit in shinobi history. We will push our bodies beyond their limits, we will master techniques that make legends, and we will show the entire shinobi world the true power of taijutsu. He thrust his fist toward the sky. Are you ready to embrace your youth? Yes, Guy-sensei, Lee shouted, matching the pose. Neji sighed but nodded reluctantly. Naruto cracked his knuckles. Just point me at something to hit. Guy's grin widened. Perfect. Then let's begin with a simple exercise, a survival drill. The three of you must work together to take these 2 bells from me. He produced 2 small bells from his vest. You have until sunset. Use any methods necessary. Come at me with killing intent. Wait, Neji interjected. There are 3 of us, but only 2 bells. What happens to whoever doesn't get one? Guy's expression turned serious. They fail and return to the academy. The implications hung heavy. Lee looked determined. Neji calculated odds. Naruto just smiled. Before we begin, Guy added, I should mention, I'll be using my full Jonin level abilities. No handicaps. If you 3 don't work together perfectly, you have no chance of success. There is no such thing as strong for a Jonin, Naruto said, moving into a ready stance. There is only weak. Guy's eyes gleamed with approval and anticipation. Then come! Naruto moved first, naturally taking point. His approach was direct, a straight charge that ate up the distance in heartbeats. No deception, no fancy footwork, just overwhelming speed and power. His fist drove toward Guy's face with enough force to cave in a skull. Guy blocked with his forearm, and the impact echoed like a thunderclap. Before he could counter, Lee appeared from the side, leg extended in a devastating spinning kick. Guy backflipped away from both attacks, landing in a defensive stance. Good, Guy praised. Coordinated assault, but predictable. Neji hung back, Byakugan active, analyzing the exchange. His tactical mind processed angles, weaknesses, patterns. The Hyuga prodigy wasn't one to rush into combat mindlessly. Naruto pursued Guy relentlessly, each strike calculated for maximum damage. He wasn't just throwing wild punches. Every attack flowed into the next with practiced efficiency, creating combinations that left minimal openings. Guy deflected, dodged, and parried with the skill of someone who'd spent decades perfecting taijutsu. You're holding back, old man, Naruto called out, grinning savagely. Show me something interesting. Guy's expression shifted. Very well. Dynamic entry. He appeared in front of Naruto instantly, leg extended in his signature flying kick. The speed was absurd, faster than most Jonin could track. Naruto's response was pure instinct, dress. His body swayed aside with minimal movement, the kick passing so close it ruffled his hair. Guy's momentum carried him forward, and Naruto was already pivoting, launching a counterpunch at the exposed back. Guy twisted in midair, impossibly flexible, and caught Naruto's fist between his palms. Excellent reflexes, but Lee struck from above, having used the exchange as cover to position himself. His downward axe kick targeted Guy's head with all the force his training could muster. Guy released Naruto and caught Lee's ankle. Predictable, Lee. You telegraph your... Neji's voice cut through. 8 trigrams, 32 palms. The Hyuga prodigy had finally joined the fray, having identified an opening in Guy's defense. His hands became blurs as he struck at chakra points with surgical precision. Guy had no choice but to release Lee and retreat, his movement suddenly restricted. Excellent teamwork. Guy praised even as he favored one side slightly. Neji's gentle fist sealed several of my tenketsu. Naruto applied constant pressure. Lee created openings. This is what cooperation looks like. But Naruto wasn't interested in lessons. He was interested in victory. While Guy was distracted by his own praise, Naruto employed scanning, an instinctive technique where he analyzed an opponent's body structure, identifying weaknesses, pressure points, and injury vulnerabilities. Guy's left knee showed microtrauma from old injuries. His right shoulder had scar tissue limiting range of motion by perhaps 5 degrees. Small things, exploitable things. Naruto attacked the knee with a low sweeping kick faster than Lee could follow. Guy blocked, but the impact aggravated the old injury. Naruto immediately transitioned to a palm strike targeting the shoulder, forcing Guy to defend at an awkward angle. The Jonin's eyes widened slightly, recognition that his student had just deployed advanced tactical analysis. You're reading my body, Guy said, impressed. That's A-rank threat assessment. Your jutsu, your rank, your experience, Naruto replied, pressing the attack. None of it matters before me. They exchanged blows at speeds that kicked up dust and cracked the earth. Lee and Neji could only watch, their own skills insufficient to participate at this level. The gap between Jinin and Jonin was vast. The gap between ordinary Jinin and Naruto was even vaster. Guy began using techniques that would hospitalize most opponents. Leaf Great Whirlwind sent Naruto skidding back. Leaf Strong Whirlwind came as an immediate follow-up. But Naruto's durability was monstrous. He absorbed hits that should have shattered bones, his body naturally more resilient than seemed possible. "This is getting fun," Naruto said, blood trickling from his lip. His eyes held a gleam that made Guy momentarily hesitate. It was the look of someone truly enjoying combat, not in a healthy way, but in the manner of a predator finally finding worthy prey. Guy recognized the signs. He'd seen them before in powerful individuals who walk dangerous lines. "Naruto, remember this is a drill." Naruto's back muscles flexed. The world seemed to hold its breath. Across Naruto's spine and shoulder blades, his muscles contorted into an unmistakable pattern. A demonic face formed in his flesh, all rage and violence and primal terror given physical form. "The demon back," Lee gasped. Neji's Byakugan showed him the chakra flowing through Naruto's body, amplifying everything, and the Hyuga genius felt genuine fear for the first time in years. Guy's expression became absolutely serious. "So that's your..." Naruto was on him before the sentence finished. The speed difference was absurd. Every attribute had multiplied. Strength that had been impressive became terrifying. Guy blocked a punch and felt his reinforced arm guards crack. He countered with Leaf Rising Wind, but Naruto caught his leg mid-kick and threw him 100 feet across the training ground. Guy flipped in mid-air, landed, and immediately had to defend against Naruto's follow-up. The boy, no, the monster, was relentless. Every strike carried killing intent. Every combination was designed to break, cripple, or crush. This wasn't sparring. This was survival. "Naruto," Guy shouted, deflecting a punch that would have caved in his chest. "Control yourself. Your teammates." Naruto's fist stopped an inch from Guy's face. The displaced air ruffled the Jonin's hair. Silence. Naruto's expression hadn't changed. Still that calm, predatory smile. Still completely in control. "I know exactly what I'm doing, old man," Naruto said quietly, "and I know exactly how far to go." The demon back faded. Naruto stepped away, reaching into his pocket and pulling out 2 bells. He tossed them to Guy casually. "You dropped these about 30 seconds ago? During the 3rd combination exchange. I used your own dynamic entry momentum against you. Pickpocketed them using the contact, and you never noticed because you were too focused on my strikes." Guy patted his vest. Empty. He stared at Naruto for a long moment, then burst into booming laughter. "Magnificent! You accomplished the objective while simultaneously testing your limits against me. That's the kind of tactical thinking that wins wars." Lee looked confused. "But wait, there are only 2 bells and 3 of us. Who passes?" Guy's smile softened. "Lee, my student, this test was never about the bells. It was about teamwork, about understanding your strengths and weaknesses, about trusting your comrades." He addressed all 3. Naruto demonstrated overwhelming individual power, but also tactical awareness. "Lee, you provided crucial support despite the power gap. Neji, your analysis identified the opening that created our initial advantage. You all pass." Neji's eyes narrowed. "So the failure returns to academy threat was..." "Motivation," Guy declared. "And it worked. You 3 functioned as a unit despite your differences. That's what Team Fist is about, combining individual strength into collective superiority." Naruto yawned, already losing interest now that the fighting had ended. "So what's next? When do we get real missions?" "Eager for action." "I love it." Guy produced a mission scroll. "As it happens, we have our first assignment. A simple C rank. Escort a merchant caravan through the Forest of Death to the border of Wind Country. Should take 3 days. We leave tomorrow at dawn." The Forest of Death? Lee's enthusiasm dimmed slightly. "Isn't that extremely dangerous?" "Yes." Guy's smile was radiant. "Which makes it the perfect training opportunity." Neji sighed. "Of course it is." Naruto just smiled. Finally, something interesting was about to happen. The Forest of Death earned its name honestly. Massive trees blocked out sunlight, creating a perpetual twilight filled with dangers both natural and unnatural. Chakra-enhanced predators hunted in packs. Poisonous plants grew thick. The very air felt hostile to human presence. Team Fist moved through it like they owned the place. Guy took point with his characteristic enthusiasm despite the ominous surroundings. Lee walked beside the merchant caravan's 3 wagons, helping push when terrain got rough. Neji maintained a defensive perimeter using his Byakugan, scanning for threats. Naruto ranged ahead as advanced scout, a position that confused the merchants until they witnessed him dismember a tiger the size of a small house with his bare hands. Does that boy have any sense of self-preservation? The lead merchant, a nervous man named Kenji, asked Guy as they watched Naruto casually kick the tiger's corpse off the path. Naruto has very different threat assessment parameters than most shinobi, Guy replied diplomatically. To him, a chakra-enhanced predator is more opportunity than danger. He's insane, Kenji muttered. No, Neji corrected from his position on the wagon. His Byakugan had been active for hours, tracking their path. He's just strong enough that normal rules don't apply. Watch. 3 figures dropped from the trees ahead. Bandits, judging by their mismatched armor and hungry expressions. They'd likely been watching the caravan for miles, waiting for an opportune moment to strike. Well, well, the leader said, scratching his scarred face. Looks like we got ourselves a nice score. Hand over the goods and nobody gets. Naruto appeared behind him silently. The weak don't get to choose how they die. The bandit leader's eyes widened. He tried to turn, to defend, to do anything. Naruto's palm strike to his spine sent him ragdolling through 3 trees before he stopped moving. The other 2 bandits barely had time to register their leader's demise before Naruto was on them. Lee and Neji didn't even have time to react. Guy didn't bother. The entire exchange took 4 seconds. 3 bandits, 3 broken bodies, 0 mercy shown. Naruto walked back to the caravan, blood on his knuckles, paths clear. Kenji looked at the carnage, then at Naruto's completely calm expression, and decided not to comment. The caravan moved on. Over the next 2 days, they were attacked 6 more times. Bandits, missing nin, even a squad of enemy genin who'd gotten lost and decided robbery was their best path forward. Each time, Naruto handled it with brutal efficiency. No speeches, no warnings, just overwhelming violence followed by silence. Lee watched each encounter with conflicted fascination. Naruto-kun's strength is undeniable, but should we really be killing every opponent? Some of them tried to surrender. And, Naruto asked, genuinely curious about Lee's perspective, and mercy is a virtue? Giving people second chances allows them to change? Wrong, Naruto said flatly. Mercy is what the strong grant the weak as charity. But these people? He gestured to where the most recent group of bandits lay broken. They chose to be predators. They just discovered something higher on the food chain. That's not tragedy, that's nature. Neji surprisingly nodded. He's correct, Lee. These weren't honorable opponents or misguided individuals. They were criminals attempting murder for profit. Showing them mercy means they'd simply try again with different victims. But Guy-sensei, Lee appealed to their instructor. Don't you believe in second chances? Guy was thoughtful. I believe in the power of youth to overcome mistakes, yes, but I also believe in protecting the innocent. Naruto's methods are harsh, but in this instance, not incorrect. These bandits made their choices. He simply ensured they couldn't make those same choices again. Lee remained uncomfortable but accepted the explanation. Naruto noted the exchange with mild interest. The kid had potential but was held back by idealism. That could be trained out or beaten out. Either worked. On the 3rd night, camped near the forest's edge, Neji approached Naruto where he sat apart from the others, staring at the stars. I've been watching you, Neji said without preamble, with my Byakugan. Your chakra network is unusual. Is this going somewhere? Naruto asked, not bothering to look at the Hyuga. Your chakra doesn't flow like normal shinobi. It's denser, more concentrated, and there's something else, a second presence mixed with your own. Is it the 9 tails? Naruto glanced at him. You're smarter than you look, princess. Don't call me that, Neji snapped but continued. The beast's power flows through you without any of the traditional signs of a tailed beast host. No seal suppression, no chakra leakage, no loss of control. How? Because the 9 tails isn't my power source, Naruto explained with uncharacteristic patience. It's more like a roommate I've convinced not to trash the place. My strength comes from somewhere else entirely. Where? Naruto smiled, and it wasn't pleasant. That's personal, but since you're my teammate and not completely useless, I'll give you advice. Stop obsessing about fate and destiny. You've got the Byakugan, you've got Gentle Fist Mastery, and you've got actual combat intelligence. Use them. Become strong enough that your clan's politics become irrelevant. Neji bristled. You don't understand. I understand fine, Naruto interrupted. You're in the branch house. They put a seal on your head. Main house calls the shots. Boo-hoo. You think you're the only person in the world with a shitty situation? He finally looked directly at Neji, and the Hyuga saw something in those eyes that made him step back involuntarily. You want to change your fate? Get strong enough that they can't stop you. Get powerful enough that their seals, their rules, their entire hierarchy becomes a joke. Or sit there and whine about destiny. Your choice. Neji opened his mouth, closed it, then turned and walked away. But Naruto noticed the thoughtful expression on his face. Seeds planted, they delivered the caravan successfully the next morning. Kenji paid them with genuine gratitude and a bonus for the exceptional protection service. Guy accepted it cheerfully, already planning how to reinvest the funds into training equipment. Our first mission complete, Guy announced as they began the journey back to Konoha. And magnificently executed. Lee, your support was invaluable. Neji, your surveillance prevented 3 ambushes before they materialized. And Naruto, your combat efficiency was, well, efficient. It was boring, Naruto said honestly. Bandits and missing nin aren't opponents. They're target practice. Then perhaps our next assignment will prove more stimulating. Guy pulled out another scroll he'd been carrying. I took the liberty of requesting something special from the Hokage. A B-rank mission investigating strange disappearances near the Valley of the End. Several teams have gone missing, including one led by a special jonin. They're sending us to investigate. Neji's eyes widened. That's not a genin-level mission. If a special jonin's entire team disappeared, then whatever's there will be interesting, Naruto finished. His smile returned. Finally. The Valley of the End stood as a monument to legendary conflict. 2 massive statues faced each other across a waterfall. Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha, founders and destroyers, their eternal battle frozen in stone. The valley between them was beautiful and ominous in equal measure. Team Fist approached cautiously. Even Naruto respected the tactical necessity of reconnaissance over reckless charging when information was scarce. My Byakugan shows nothing unusual. Neji reported, veins bulging around his temples. No chakra signatures, no hidden enemies, no traps. It's as if the missing team simply vanished. Vanished without trace means either spatial ninjutsu, or they were moved outside your vision range, Guy analyzed. Or something is blocking your Byakugan's perception. Impossible, Neji said immediately. The Byakugan sees through all deception. Arrogance, Naruto interrupted. Nothing is absolute except strength. If you think your eyes are perfect, you're already defeated. Before Neji could retort, Lee pointed toward the waterfall. Look, is that? A figure stood on the water's surface below the statues, humanoid but wrong. Its proportions didn't quite match human anatomy. Its movements had a stuttering, unnatural quality, and it was watching them. That's not human, Naruto observed. Chakra signature? Neji focused. Strange, it has chakra, but the flow is completely alien. Not like any shinobi I've observed. It's more like the figure vanished. Neji's eyes widened. It's moving, incredibly fast, coming from... It appeared in front of Guy with no transition. One moment empty space, the next a creature of vaguely human shape made from some kind of dark, thought-shifting material. Its strike was fast enough to kill most jonin. Guy blocked with his forearms, and the impact created a crater where he'd been standing. Students! Defensive formation! But Naruto was already engaging. His fist connected with the creature's torso, and the feeling was wrong, like punching semi-solid liquid. The creature absorbed the impact, reformed, and counterstruck with appendages that sharpened into blades mid-swing. Naruto employed dress, swaying around the attacks with minimal movement. What the hell are you? The creature didn't answer, couldn't answer. It attacked with relentless, mechanical efficiency. Lee tried to flank it, but his kicks passed through it like it wasn't entirely solid. Neji's gentle fist strikes hit chakra points that didn't seem to exist in any recognizable network. It's reforming after every attack, Lee shouted, backing away from a blade that missed his throat by inches. Physical damage doesn't work. Guy engaged directly, his superior speed and technique allowing him to avoid the creature's strikes while landing devastating counters. But each hit, no matter how perfect, caused only temporary deformation before the creature reconstituted. Naruto analyzed it with scanning, but the technique failed. There was no biological structure to read, no skeleton to target, No conventional anatomy whatsoever. Interesting, Naruto said. His smile widened. You're not alive. Not really. You're more like animated jutsu given form. He dodged a strike that would have bisected him. That means you're running on someone else's chakra. You're a puppet. As if in response, 3 more figures emerged from the waterfall. Identical to the first, moving with that same disturbing inhuman quality. 4 of them, Lee gasped. Guy-sensei, what do we do? We adapt. Guy's enthusiasm somehow remained despite the dire situation. Naruto's right. These are constructs. Find the source controlling them. Neji's Bakugan swept the area frantically. I see nothing. No hidden chakra signature, no controller, nothing. One of the creatures lunged at Neji. The Hyuga genius tried to defend, but its speed was absurd. The blade appendage drove toward his heart. Naruto's hand caught the blade. It cut deep into his palm, but he didn't flinch. With his other hand, he grabbed the creature by what served as its head and slammed it into the ground with enough force to shatter stone. Nobody touches my teammates. The statement was matter of fact, not emotional, but it caused both Lee and Neji to pause in surprise. Naruto, who'd shown nothing but dismissive superiority, had just defended them. Don't get sentimental, Naruto continued, crushing the creature's head. It began reforming. I just need you alive to carry supplies. Despite the casual dismissal, Lee's eyes shimmered. Naruto-kun? The battle intensified. 4 creatures meant 4 vectors of attack, and even Guy was struggling to defend against multiple opponents simultaneously while protecting his students. One of the creatures managed to land a solid hit on Lee, sending him crashing through a tree. Another pushed Neji back with a flurry of strikes that the Hyuga barely deflected. Naruto decided subtlety was useless. His back muscles flexed, and the demon back manifested in full glory. The demonic face on his spine seemed to grin with malicious glee. His speed tripled. His strength became monstrous. He caught one creature mid-attack, tore it in half, and threw the pieces at another creature hard enough to destroy both. Before they could reform, he was on the third, pulverizing it with a combination of strikes faster than Lee could track. The 4th creature tried to escape, but Naruto employed Ogre's Dash, an explosive burst of speed that left after images. He appeared behind it, grabbed what served as its spine, and ripped it out through its back. All 4 creatures dissolved into dark liquid that evaporated quickly, leaving no trace. Silence. Naruto's demon back faded. He stood in the center of devastation, breathing normally despite the exertion. Impressive, said a new voice. A man emerged from behind Madara's statue, walking casually down the stone like gravity was optional. He wore the uniform of a Konoha jonin, but it was torn and bloodstained. His face was gaunt, eyes sunken, expression twisted into something between madness and glee. Impressive, the man repeated. That's the first time anyone's destroyed all 4 simultaneously. Most teams got picked off one by one. But you? He focused on Naruto. You're something special, aren't you? Guy stepped forward, expression grim. Identify yourself. The man laughed, a brittle sound. I was Hayate Gecko once, special jonin, led a team to investigate disappearances 3 weeks ago, found something amazing. Now I'm so much more. You're the source, Neji realized. You created those creatures. Created? No, channeled. There's something beneath this valley, something ancient that predates even the founders. It grants power to those willing to embrace it. Hayate's hands formed seals. And you're gonna help me feed it. More creatures emerged from the water, dozens of them. They surrounded Team Fist in a tightening circle. Guy's expression became deadly serious. Students, we're retreating. This is beyond your current. No, Naruto interrupted. He looked at Hayate with the same expression a shark gives a bleeding fish. This is exactly what I needed. Finally, something that might actually be fun. Naruto, this is not the time for, Guy began. Old man, take the other 2 and get clear. This one's mine. I cannot allow you to. That wasn't a request. Naruto's eyes held something cold and absolute. You wanted to see what Team Fist could do? Watch. Guy hesitated, caught between his duty to protect his students and his recognition that Naruto was perhaps the most dangerous person present. He made a decision. Lee, Neji, with me. We establish a perimeter and prevent reinforcements. But Naruto-kun, Lee protested. We'll be fine, Guy said firmly, pulling both students away. Trust in your teammate's strength. They withdrew to the valley's edge, leaving Naruto alone in the circle of creatures. Hayate smiled. Brave or stupid? There is no such thing as strong for a special jonin, Naruto said, cracking his knuckles. There is only weak. The creatures attacked en masse. 30 shadow constructs moving with lethal synchronization, striking from every angle simultaneously. It should have been impossible to defend against. Naruto employed 0.5-second unconscious, a technique exploiting the gap between perceiving danger and reacting to it. In that half-second where the brain processes a threat before the body responds, he moved, not dodging, attacking. His fist pulverized the first creature before its blade could complete its arc. He pivoted, caught the second by its throat, and used it as a weapon to destroy the third and fourth. His movements were economical, efficient, wasting no energy. Each strike killed. Each dodge positioned him for the next kill. From the valley's edge, Lee watched in awe. I can't even track his movements anymore. This is what true mastery looks like. Neji's Byakugan showed him the truth. His chakra isn't flaring. He's not using any jutsu. This is purely physical ability and combat instinct. How is this possible? Guy said nothing, but his expression was grave. He'd seen this type of fighter once before, someone who transcended normal limitations through pure physical dominance. But Naruto was only 12. The implications were staggering. Naruto systematically destroyed the creatures. When 5 surrounded him, he killed all 5 before any could strike. When 10 attacked in perfect coordination, he created a corpse wall from the first 6 that blocked the remaining 4's angles. When they tried to overwhelm him with numbers, he demonstrated why numbers meant nothing. Hayate watched his constructs fall with increasing desperation. Impossible! That's over 40 constructs. Special jonin have fallen to less. Your mistake, Naruto said, crushing another creature beneath his foot, was thinking quantity matters. He turned his full attention to Hayate. The creatures between them died as he plowed through like they didn't exist. Hayate tried to retreat, to create distance, but Naruto employed Ogre's Dash again. Distance became irrelevant. His fist drove into Hayate's gut with enough force to lift the man off his feet. Hayate coughed blood, tried to form a seal, and Naruto broke both his hands with 2 precise strikes. Bone shattered. Hayate screamed. You talked about something beneath the valley, Naruto said conversationally, holding Hayate by the throat. Something that grants power. Where? Fuck you! Hayate spat blood. Naruto's grip tightened slightly. Not enough to crush, just enough to make breathing very difficult. I'll ask once more. After that, I start breaking things until you answer, or you're too broken to answer. Either outcome works for me. Hayate's eyes showed genuine terror now. Whatever power had driven him to madness, it paled before the predator currently choking the life from him. Beneath the statues, there's a seal. It's weakening. Good. Naruto dropped him. Hayate collapsed, gasping. Now! Hayate's hand shot up, holding a kunai he'd somehow concealed. The blade drove toward Naruto's eye with desperate speed. Naruto caught the blade between 2 fingers. His other hand drove through Hayate's chest. Not a metaphor. His fist literally punched through ribs, sternum, and spine, emerging from Hayate's back in a spray of blood and viscera. Hayate's eyes widened in shock. His mouth moved, trying to form words. Nothing came out except blood. Naruto withdrew his hand, and Hayate collapsed, dead before he hit the ground. The weak don't get to choose how they die, Naruto said to the corpse. He wiped his bloody hand on Hayate's uniform, then walked calmly toward where his team watched. Lee looked simultaneously awed and horrified. Naruto-kun, he was. An enemy who tried to kill us, Naruto finished. I responded appropriately. You murdered him, Neji said, though his voice lacked conviction. His Byakugan had shown him everything, including Hayate's final attack. Self-defense, Naruto corrected. He attacked. I killed him. That's how combat works. Guy stepped forward. His expression was complicated. Naruto, I understand the necessity of what you did, but you showed no hesitation, no remorse. No, should I? Naruto interrupted. He chose to attack me. He chose to use forbidden techniques. He chose violence. I just chose to be better at it than him. His eyes met Guy's steadily. If you think I'll apologize for being strong, you'll be disappointed. Guy studied him for a long moment. I don't need apologies, but I do need you to understand something. Strength without wisdom is just destruction. Power without purpose is meaningless. You're on a dangerous path, Naruto. Being strong means being strong, Naruto replied. That's all there is to it. Before Guy could respond, the ground trembled. Where Hayate's body lay, dark energy began seeping from his wounds, flowing toward the statues. The water between the founders churned unnaturally. Something's awakening, Neji observed. Byakugan active. I'm seeing massive chakra signatures emerging from beneath the valley floor, multiple entities, each comparable to. He trailed off, face pale. Comparable to what? Lee demanded. Comparable to tailed beasts, Neji whispered. The water exploded upward. From its depths rose something that hurt to look at directly, a mass of shadow and malice that had no consistent form, shifting between shapes so rapidly it appeared to exist in multiple states simultaneously. The air grew cold. The sky darkened, despite it being midday. Guy's face went white. That's not possible. The seal should have held for another century. What is it? Lee shouted over the rising wind. An old mistake, Guy said grimly. When the founders fought their final battle here, they didn't just create this valley. They sealed something beneath it, something that fed on hatred and violence. The first Hokage thought it was destroyed, but apparently he was wrong. The entity, for lack of a better term, focused its attention on the valley's occupants. When it looked at them, they felt it in their souls. Ancient, hungry, utterly malevolent. Then it spoke, and its voice was every scream of every victim of every war throughout history. Free, finally free, and such fresh sustenance. It moved toward them like cancer spreading, its form consuming everything it touched. Trees withered and died, stone cracked. The air itself seemed to rot. Run, Guy ordered. Now, this is S rank. None of you are. Naruto stepped forward. Naruto, no. Guy grabbed his shoulder. This entity destroyed most of the first Hokage's forces during the Founders' era. It required both founders working together to seal it. You cannot. Naruto shrugged off Guy's hand with casual ease. His eyes were locked on the approaching entity, and something in his expression made Guy step back despite himself. I've been bored for so long, Naruto said quietly. Bandits, missing nin, construct puppets, none of it was real. None of it mattered. But this? His smile widened into something that matched the entity's malevolence. This might actually be fun. His back muscles flexed. The demon back manifested, but different from before. The demonic face seemed more real, more present, its expression matching Naruto's own savage anticipation. Power radiated from him in waves that made even the ancient entity pause. Naruto, Guy tried one more time. Your power is impressive, but this thing is strong, Naruto interrupted. Finally, he glanced back at Guy. Keep the others safe, old man. I'll handle this. Before anyone could respond, he launched himself at the entity. The collision generated a shockwave that shattered every window in the valley. Naruto's fist connected with what served as the entity's core, and reality screamed. The entity recoiled, actual surprise in its ancient consciousness. Something had just hurt it, something it had thought impossible. Naruto pressed his advantage. His attacks were relentless, each strike targeting different parts of the entity's mass. Where Hayate's constructs had been mere puppets, this thing was the source. Infinite mass to draw from, regeneration that should have been absolute. But Naruto had fought the unkillable before. Every spar with his own inner demon, the Nine Tails, had taught him how to hurt things that shouldn't be hurt. You didn't kill the unkillable. You broke them so thoroughly they stopped trying to live. He employed every technique in his arsenal. Aiki redirect to use the entity's own momentum against it when it struck, scanning to identify the densest concentrations of its mass, the parts that regenerated slowest. Pressure point devastation, adapted for something that didn't have conventional anatomy, but still had structural weaknesses. The entity adapted quickly, forming blades from its mass, creating tentacles that struck with the force of battering rams, splitting itself to attack from multiple angles. It was learning his patterns, adjusting its strategy. So Naruto stopped using patterns. He engaged with pure instinct, responding to threats the instant they manifested. His predator's instinct, allowing him to react before his conscious mind registered danger. His movements became impossible to predict because he wasn't thinking, just responding, adapting, overwhelming. From their position at the valley's edge, Team Fist watched in stunned silence. This is insane, Neji breathed. My Byakugan shows his chakra reserves dropping, but his physical output isn't decreasing at all. He's fighting something that destroyed hundreds of the first Hokage soldiers, and he's winning. Not just winning, Guy corrected quietly. Dominating. That entity is thousands of years old, has consumed countless victims, and contains power that should dwarf a genin's capabilities. But Naruto's making it look weak. Lee's eyes shimmered with tears. This is what true dedication to taijutsu can achieve? Then I must train even harder. Naruto-kun is showing me the path. Guy didn't have the heart to explain that what they were witnessing wasn't just dedication. It was something else entirely. Something that made even him, a man who dedicated his life to surpassing his limits, feel inadequate. Naruto grabbed a portion of the entity's mask, tore it free, and used it as a weapon against another section. The entity screamed, a sound that made all three watching shinobi cover their ears as it was damaged by its own substance. Interesting, Naruto observed, still fighting. You're not actually formless. You're made of compressed malice and chakra given pseudo-physical form, which means you follow rules. All I need to do is find them. The entity tried to engulf him, surrounding him completely in a sphere of its dark substance. It should have meant instant death, consumption and digestion by living hatred. Instead, the sphere exploded outward from the inside. Naruto stood in the center, unharmed, grinning. Rule 1. You can't compress beyond a certain density without losing cohesion. Good to know. He attacked the entity's core directly, recognizing it now. A small point of absolute darkness where all the mass originated. The entity defended desperately, throwing everything at Naruto to keep him away from that crucial weakness. But Naruto had a weakness for it too. While the entity was focused on him, distracted by his relentless assault, the Nine-Tails chakra leaked into his strikes. Not consciously directed, just Kurama recognizing a threat and responding on instinct. The combination was devastating. Naruto's physical might enhanced by tailed beast chakra, striking at the entity's core with precision born of combat genius. Each hit damaged something fundamental. The entity began destabilizing. Impossible, it screamed. I am eternal. I am boring, Naruto finished. His fist drove into the core, and he didn't just punch it. He released every ounce of power he possessed in a single, focused explosion. The demon back glowed with malevolent light. The Nine-Tails' chakra erupted in a crimson flash. In his own monstrous strength concentrated into a point smaller than a coin, the entity's core shattered. The resulting explosion of released energy threw Naruto backward 100 feet. He flipped midair, landed on his feet, and skidded to a stop in a crouch. His fists were smoking. Blood dripped from his knuckles. But he was smiling. The entity's mass collapsed, losing cohesion without its core. It dissolved into mist that faded rapidly in sunlight that suddenly seemed brighter, warmer. The oppressive atmosphere lifted. The darkness cleared, and the valley of the end was just a valley again. Silence. Then, Yosh! Guy's shout shattered the quiet. That was the most spectacular display of youthful power I have ever witnessed. Lee was crying openly. Naruto-kun! That was... Impossible, Neji finished, Byakugan still active, confirming what he'd witnessed. You just killed something that should have required multiple S-rank shinobi working together, alone, as a genin. Naruto walked back toward them, wiping blood from his lip. It was strong, but not strong enough. Guy approached, his expression a mix of pride, concern, and something like fear. Naruto, what you just did? The Hokage needs to know about this, immediately. Why? Naruto asked. I did my job. Mission complete. Because you just demonstrated power that changes everything, Guy said seriously. The balance between villages, the threat assessment of Konoha's forces, the political landscape, all of it shifts when word gets out that we have a genin who can solo S-rank entities. So don't tell anyone, Naruto replied, as if it were obvious. Guy laughed despite the seriousness. My boy, 3 other people witnessed it, and your teammates will be questioned. Secrets like this don't stay secret. Naruto shrugged. Then let them know. Let everyone know. His eyes held absolute confidence. I don't hide what I am. If other villages want to try me, they're welcome to. I'll show them the same courtesy I showed that thing. The walk back to Konoha was quiet. Each team member processed what they'd witnessed in their own way. Lee pledged to train until he could match even a fraction of Naruto's power. Neji analyzed every moment, his Byakugan having recorded details he'd studied for years. Guy contemplated the ramifications of having such a powerful student. And Naruto? Naruto was already bored again, wondering when the next real fight would present itself. News of the Valley of the End incident spread quickly through Konoha's Jonin ranks. Within a day, every chunin and above knew some version of the story. Within 2 days, other villages' spy networks had picked it up. Within a week, Naruto's name was being whispered in every hidden village as the Ogre of Konoha. The Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, summoned Team Fist for a full debriefing. They stood in his office, a room Naruto had been in countless times before for various incidents, while the old man reviewed their reports with grave concern. "Let me ensure I understand correctly," Hiruzen said slowly. "A special Jonin was corrupted by an ancient sealed entity. This entity, which required both the first and second Hokage to seal originally, broke free, and Naruto destroyed it, alone, in direct combat." "That is correct, Lord Hokage," Guy confirmed. Hiruzen looked at Naruto. "And you're 12 years old." 13 next month, Naruto corrected helpfully. The Hokage sighed deeply, suddenly looking every one of his 69 years. "Do you understand what this means, Naruto? The moment other villages learn what you're capable of, you become the highest priority target in the shinobi world. Assassinations, kidnapping attempts, political maneuvering. All of it will focus on either eliminating you or turning you to their side." "Let them try," Naruto said with zero concern. "They'll die. Your confidence is well-founded, given your demonstrated abilities. But even you can be killed, Naruto. Poison, ambush, techniques you haven't encountered. There are ways." "Then I'll get stronger until there aren't ways." Hiruzen studied him for a long moment. "Guy, what's your assessment of Naruto's psychology? Is he stable enough to handle the pressure that's coming?" Guy hesitated. "Lord Hokage, Naruto is unique. His attachment to the village is pragmatic rather than emotional. His loyalty is to strength and worthy opponents rather than ideals. But he's not unstable. He's just operating on a completely different value system than traditional shinobi. He enjoys combat to an unhealthy degree," Neji added, "and shows no remorse for killing." "I show appropriate remorse," Naruto corrected, "which is none, because everyone I've killed was either trying to kill me or innocents. Why would I feel bad about that?" Lee spoke up, his voice uncertain. "Naruto-kun's methods are harsh, but his heart is not evil. He protected Neji and me during the battle. He could have abandoned us to focus on his fight, but he ensured our safety first." "I needed you to carry supplies," Naruto muttered, but the deflection was transparent. Hiruzen made his decision. "Very well. Naruto, I'm designating you as a special asset to the village. You'll continue operating as part of Team Fist, but with modified mission parameters. Guy will have discretion to accept missions above typical Genin level based on his assessment of your capabilities." "Finally," Naruto said. "The boring ones were getting old." "However," Hiruzen continued sternly, "this also means you'll face increased scrutiny. The council is already demanding a full evaluation of your abilities and psychological profile. Some are calling for you to be removed from active duty until you demonstrate appropriate shinobi mindset." Naruto's expression darkened. "If they try to bench me, I'll leave the village." The statement hung in the air like a death threat, because it was one, not to his teammates, but to Konoha itself. Naruto leaving meant their most powerful asset potentially becoming an enemy, or worse, joining another village. "I'll handle the council," Hiruzen said firmly. "But Naruto, you need to give me something to work with. Show that you can follow orders, work within the system, represent the village appropriately. I complete missions, I protect teammates, I eliminate threats. What else do you want?" "Diplomacy," Hiruzen said bluntly. "Politics. The understanding that power without wisdom leads to disaster. You're strong, Naruto, perhaps the strongest shinobi of your generation. But strength alone doesn't make you valuable. It makes you dangerous. I need to know you're dangerous to our enemies, not to the structure that keeps this village functioning." Naruto was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice carried unusual thoughtfulness. "Old man, I'll be honest with you. I don't care about politics. I don't care about diplomacy. I care about being strong and fighting worthy opponents. But," he glanced at his teammates, "I also recognize that being part of this team means I have responsibilities. So I'll make you a deal. I'll play your political games when necessary. I'll represent the village appropriately in public. But when it comes to actual combat, you let me do what I do best. Fight without restrictions. Hiruzen considered this. That's acceptable. But Naruto, understand, the moment you become more of a liability than an asset, I'll have no choice but to take action. Fair enough, Naruto agreed. But also understand, if you try to cage me, I'll break the cage, and probably whoever built it. The temperature in the room dropped slightly. Guy stepped forward. Lord Hokage, if I may, I think what Naruto is trying to express in his unique way is that he's willing to cooperate within reasonable boundaries, but those boundaries need to respect his nature. You can't put a tiger in a collar and expect it to act like a house cat. A concerning metaphor, but accurate, Hiruzen admitted. He addressed all three genin. Very well. Team Fist will continue operations with enhanced mission access. Guy, you're responsible for managing Naruto's enthusiasm. Keep detailed records of all missions and outcomes. The council will want regular reports. Understood, Lord Hokage. As they filed out, Hiruzen called after Naruto. One more thing. Your combat with that entity, you used the Nine-Tails chakra. Naruto paused. Instinctively, Kurama recognized a threat. Kurama? Hiruzen's eyebrows rose. You're on speaking terms with the Nine-Tails? More like mutual understanding. He knows I'm stronger. I know he's useful. We've reached an arrangement. Hiruzen wanted to ask more questions, but decided some things were better left mysterious. Dismissed. The next 3 months established Team Fist's reputation as the most effective and most brutal genin team in Konoha's recent history. Their mission completion rate was perfect, their efficiency was unmatched, and their body count was concerning to some, celebrated by others. They handled bandits that had been plaguing trade routes for years. They eliminated a group of missing 9 who'd established a base near Fire Country's border. They even managed to resolve a diplomatic incident with Cloud Village by Naruto casually defeating their 3-man Jonin team who'd accidentally crossed into Fire Country territory. That last incident nearly caused international complications until the Cloud Jonin admitted they'd been testing Konoha's defenses and got more than they bargained for. Naruto's parting words to them, "Tell your Raikage that if he wants a fight, I'll come to Cloud and give him one," became legendary. Lee's abilities improved dramatically under the team's high-intensity operations. His speed increased, his techniques refined, but more importantly, his confidence grew. He'd always believed hard work could overcome genius, but watching Naruto had shown him what true mastery looked like. It was both inspiring and humbling. Neji underwent perhaps the most significant change. The Hyuga prodigy's rigid belief in fate began cracking. Every mission showed him that Naruto defied destiny through sheer will and power. Neji started questioning his clan's teachings, pushing his gentle fist techniques beyond their traditional limitations, experimenting with unorthodox applications. During one mission, Neji actually saved Naruto from an ambush, his Byakugan detecting enemies hidden in a way even Naruto's instincts missed. Naruto's response was simple: "Good catch, princess." Neji stopped complaining about the nickname after that. Guy watched his students grow with paternal pride. Team Fist was becoming something special, not just powerful, but genuinely cohesive. Even Naruto, who'd initially seemed incapable of teamwork, demonstrated surprising tactical coordination when it mattered. Then the Chunin exams were announced. The Chunin exams traditionally showcased each village's rising talent. Teams from across the shinobi world competed in a series of tests designed to identify those with the skills, intelligence, and leadership capability for promotion. It was equal parts competition and political statement. Guy gathered Team Fist to discuss their participation. The Hokage has given permission for your team to enter the exams. However, I want to be clear, this isn't mandatory. Chunin rank is a significant step, but you're already operating above that level in terms of mission difficulty. What's the format? Naruto asked, mildly interested. 3 stages. First is a written test assessing information gathering and analytical skills. Second is a survival exercise in a controlled environment. Third is a tournament-style combat exhibition in front of dignitaries from multiple villages. Naruto's eyes gleamed. Multiple villages, meaning their best genin. Yes, and this year's exams are particularly significant. Hidden sand, rain, grass, waterfall, and even a team from Sound, a newly established village, will be participating. I'm entering, Naruto declared immediately. I as well. Lee's enthusiasm was predictable. I must test my skills against the world's youth. Neji was more thoughtful. If we enter, we become targets for political maneuvering. Other villages will want to gauge Konoha's new generation's strength, particularly after the rumors about Naruto. Let them gauge, Naruto said dismissively. What they'll learn is that they're not ready. Guy nodded slowly. Then it's decided. I'll submit your names. But understand, the Chunin exams have no rules against killing during the second and third stages. This isn't training. Other villages will send their best, and some of those competitors will be orders of magnitude stronger than the bandits and missing nin you fought. Good, Naruto said. I was getting bored again. The first stage was held in the academy's largest classroom, filled with genin from multiple villages. The atmosphere was tense, everyone sizing up potential opponents, assessing threats, forming alliances or rivalries with glances alone. Naruto sat in the back, feet propped up, completely relaxed. Lee sat rigidly proper, taking the test seriously despite his academic weaknesses. Neji sat with aristocratic poise, confident in his intellectual abilities. The proctor, Ibiki Morino, a scarred, intimidating man who specialized in interrogation, explained the rules. The test had 10 questions, but the 10th wouldn't be revealed until the end. Cheating was forbidden but expected. The real test was information gathering without getting caught. Get caught 5 times, your entire team failed. The written portion was designed to be beyond genin level knowledge, forcing participants to cheat or fail. Most employed various methods: Byakugan to copy answers, insect scouts to transmit information, subtle genjutsu to read others' papers. Naruto looked at the questions, determined they were boring, and answered them based purely on instinct and battle experience. Several questions about tactics and strategy he answered correctly through practical knowledge. The ones about politics and history he guessed. He genuinely didn't care if he failed. The 10th question's twist, accept the question knowing wrong answers meant permanent genin status, or quit now and try next year, was meant to test psychological resolve under pressure. Most teams agonized over the decision. Naruto raised his hand immediately. I accept. Ibiki's eyes narrowed. You're certain, without knowing the question? I don't care about the question. I'll answer it or I won't. Either way, I'm not quitting. His certainty was absolute, and it influenced the room. Other genin, seeing his confidence, found their own resolve. Lee and Neji both accepted without hesitation. If Naruto was going forward, they would too. In the end, 26 teams advanced to the second stage. Ibiki revealed the truth as they left. There was no 10th question. The real test was choosing to move forward despite unknown risks. Leadership meant taking responsibility for your team even when the path was unclear. Boring, Naruto muttered as they exited. Could have just asked who's willing to fight. The second stage took place in Training Ground 44, more commonly known as the Forest of Death. The same forest Team Fist had escorted a caravan through months earlier, though this time they entered from a different section. The rules were simple. Each team received either a Heaven or Earth scroll. To pass, they needed both scrolls. They had 5 days to reach the tower at the forest center. Anything was permitted: ambush, theft, killing, survival of the fittest. This will be interesting, Neji observed as they entered the forest. 26 teams means aggressive competition for scrolls. We'll face multiple encounters. Then let's make it easier, Naruto said. He cupped his hands around his mouth and shouted, loud enough to echo through the forest. Listen up. Any team that wants to fight Team Fist will be heading straight for the tower. Come find us. Lee looked horrified. Naruto-kun, you just announced our position to everyone. That's the point. Now they'll come to us instead of us wasting time hunting them down. Neji activated his Byakugan, scanning their surroundings. 3 teams are already changing course toward us. You just turned this into a combat gauntlet. Perfect. The first team to intercept them was from Hidden Rain, 3 genin with cloaked appearances and water-style jutsu specializations. Their leader stepped forward, spinning a kunai. Hand over your scroll, Konoha team. We'd prefer not to fight. We'd prefer you did fight, Naruto replied. Makes it more interesting. The Rain team attacked with coordinated water jutsu. Water dragon, water prison, hidden mist techniques designed to overwhelm and disorient. They were skilled, clearly trained extensively in combination tactics. They lasted 45 seconds. Naruto tore through their water constructs like they didn't exist, his physical strength overpowering techniques that should have been effective. Lee disabled one opponent with a well-placed kick. Neji sealed another's chakra points. The third tried to surrender, but Naruto knocked him unconscious anyway. Their scroll is heaven, Neji reported, checking the fallen genin. Same as ours. Useless. Leave it, Naruto said. Next team. Over the next 6 hours, they fought 4 more teams. A sand team with puppet users who learned that puppets were useless when someone could simply rip through them. A grass team with genjutsu specialists who discovered Naruto's resistance to illusions was absurd. A waterfall team with sword techniques that broke when Naruto caught their blades with his bare hands. The 4th team actually posed a challenge. 3 sound genin with unusual abilities. Their leader could manipulate sound waves as weapons, creating attacks that bypassed physical defense. One teammate used musical genjutsu through bells. The 3rd employed ultrasonic techniques that disrupted balance and equilibrium. Finally, Naruto said, as the sound wave struck him, causing genuine disorientation, something that actually works. The sound team pressed their advantage. Their sound-based attacks were perfect counters to purely physical fighters. Lee and Neji both struggled against techniques that didn't require direct contact, but Naruto adapted. He closed his eyes, relying purely on his predator's instinct to track opponents through their killing intent. The sound waves still affected him, but he pushed through, analyzing their frequencies, learning the patterns. Then he demonstrated why adaptation was his most dangerous ability. When the sound leader launched another sonic attack, Naruto grabbed Lee and Neji, used them as anchors, and swung them like weapons directly into the sound team's formation. It was absurd, brutal, and completely unexpected. The sound genin scattered. Naruto was on them instantly, his strikes targeting pressure points that disrupted their techniques at the source. The one with bells found his hands broken. The leader found his throat crushed hard enough to prevent speech. The ultrasonic user found himself unconscious before he could react. They had an earth scroll, Neji reported after checking their unconscious forms. We've completed the objective. Boring, Naruto complained. We finished too fast. Only been 12 hours. We could head to the tower and wait, Lee suggested. Perhaps other teams will. Or, Naruto interrupted, we find the strongest team here and fight them. Guy had warned them about one particular team, 3 sound genin who were rumored to be significantly above genin level. Enhanced in some way, possibly through forbidden techniques. They'd apparently killed multiple teams already. Neji, can your Byakugan find the team with the highest chakra concentration? Neji scanned, veins bulging around his temples. A moment. Found them, 6 kilometers northwest. Their chakra signatures are unusual, enhanced somehow. They're engaged with another team currently. Let's go say hello. They arrived to find carnage. 2 grass genin lay dead or dying. The 3rd was being slowly crushed by a monstrous figure, at least 7 feet tall, built like a bodybuilder, with strange markings covering his skin. His teammates watched with bored expressions, a girl with blood-red eyes and a boy who seemed to shift appearance constantly. Well, the girl said, noticing Team Fist's arrival. More prey. The large one dropped the grass genin he'd been strangling. Konoha team, perfect. Been wanting to test ourselves against the famous ogre of Konoha. Naruto stepped forward, eyes locked on the big one. His smile widened. You're not normal, genin. What are you? We're what happens when you stop limiting human potential, the shifting boy answered. Lord Orochimaru's gifts, making us superior to natural-born weaklings. Naruto's smile became predatory. Orochimaru, that's the Sound Village leader, right? The one who supposedly defected from Konoha decades ago? He cracked his knuckles. Well, tell your boss his gifts aren't enough. I'll demonstrate. The large one charged with surprising speed for his size. His fist drove toward Naruto with enough force to crater stone. Naruto caught it. The impact created a shockwave, but neither combatant moved. Strong, Naruto acknowledged, but not strong enough. He twisted, using Aiki redirect to throw the large genin's momentum against him. 300 pounds of enhanced muscle slammed into a tree hard enough to splinter it. Before the large one could recover, Naruto was on him, strikes targeting structural weaknesses. Scanning had identified, joints reinforced artificially, bone density increased through drugs, muscle attachment strained by rapid enhancement. The girl attempted to intervene with genjutsu, blood-red eyes meeting Naruto's. For a moment, she thought she had him. Then Naruto grinned at her from within the illusion and punched his way out of it. Literally. The genjutsu shattered like glass. "Impossible," she gasped. "My Ketsuryugen." "It's just another eye trick," Naruto interrupted, appearing in front of her. "And eyes can be closed." He didn't kill her. Guy's warnings about political ramifications still rang in his ears, but his palm strike to her solar plexus dropped her instantly, unable to breathe. The shifting boy tried to escape, recognizing they'd engaged something beyond their capabilities. Neiji's gentle fist caught him mid-leap, sealing chakra points that disabled his transformation abilities. Lee's kick sent him crashing into his large teammate. The large one, to his credit, kept fighting. Enhanced body or not, he possessed genuine determination. He and Naruto exchanged blows that shook the forest, each impact like thunder. But the outcome was inevitable. Naruto's technique was superior, his adaptability better, his power greater. The finishing blow was almost anticlimactic, a bone-breaking strike series that systematically shattered the large Genin's enhanced skeleton. Naruto pulled his punches enough that the damage wasn't permanent, but the message was clear. Enhancements meant nothing before true strength. The sound team lay broken but alive. Naruto stood over them, barely winded. Tell Orochimaru that if he wants to test his creations, he should try them on someone weaker. I'm not interested in fighting science experiments. They took the sound team's Earth Scroll, their second, and continued toward the tower. Behind them, the sound Genin struggled to even move. Their confidence shattered along with their bones. At the tower, they were the fifth team to arrive, having taken a total of 14 hours. The next team wouldn't arrive for another 36 hours. Naruto spent the waiting period sparring with Lee and offering surprisingly helpful critique on his technique. "Your kick has good power but sloppy follow-through," Naruto observed. "You're thinking about the next move before you've completed the current one. That creates openings." Lee absorbed the advice eagerly. Coming from Naruto, criticism was gold. Neji watched the exchange with interest. Naruto was actually teaching, something none of them had expected he was capable of. Perhaps there was more depth to the ogre than his brutal reputation suggested. When all qualifying teams had arrived, only 12 of the original 26 made it. The third stage format was announced. One-on-one tournament-style combat. Winners advanced, losers went home. The matches would be held in front of an audience of dignitaries, nobles, and potential clients. The preliminary matches to narrow the field to 8 finalists would be held immediately. A board displayed random matchups. Match 1, Naruto Uzumaki vs. Kiba Inuzuka, Konoha. Match 2, Rock Lee vs. Tamari Sand. Match 3, Neji Hyuga vs. Sasuke Uchiha, Konoha. Match 4, Gaara vs. Shikamaru Nara. Match 5, Dotsusu Kinuta vs. Choji Akimichi. Match 6, Shino Aburama vs. Zaku Abumi. Naruto's opponent, Kiba Inuzuka, was a fang-marked boy with a large white dog companion. He swaggered forward confidently. "Heard you're supposed to be strong, Uzumaki, but you're just a weirdo who punches things. I've got techniques, strategy, a partner. You're going down." Naruto looked at him with complete disinterest. "Your dog's the smart one in this partnership." The insult flew over Kiba's head. "That's right, Akamaru and I are—" "Wait, was that an insult?" "Yes." The proctor, a special jonin named Hayate Gecko, unrelated to the corrupted one Naruto had killed, signaled the match start. Kiba and Akamaru immediately employed their clan technique, Fang over Fang, a spinning attack where both partners became drilling missiles of claws and chakra. It was effective against most opponents, difficult to counter, and had taken down Jonin before. Naruto caught both mid-spin. One hand grabbed Kiba, the other grabbed Akamaru. He slammed them together like cymbals. The match lasted 4 seconds. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. Kiba's teammates had to help him and Akamaru to the medical area. Naruto returned to the balcony where the other competitors watched, completely unbothered. Lee's match against Tamari, the Sand Kunoichi with wind techniques and a massive folding fan, was more competitive. Lee's speed versus her ranged attacks created an interesting dynamic. But ultimately, Lee's taijutsu superiority won out. He got inside her defense and ended it with a well-placed kick that knocked her unconscious. Neji versus Sasuke Uchiha was the match everyone wanted to see. The Hyuga prodigy versus the last Uchiha, genius versus genius. Sasuke's Sharingan and lightning techniques battled Neji's Byakugan and gentle fist. The exchange was impressive technically, but Neji had changed over the past months. His time with Team Fist, watching Naruto break every limitation, had altered his approach. He stopped fighting defensively, stopped playing to traditional Hyuga doctrine, and started fighting to win at any cost. His gentle fist strikes became more aggressive, his chakra point targeting more brutal. And when Sasuke tried to finish it with his signature technique, Chidori, a lightning element jutsu taught by Kakashi, Neji did something unprecedented. He caught it. The Byakugan showed him exactly where the technique's chakra concentrated. His hands intercepted it, redirected it, and turned Sasuke's own jutsu against him. The Uchiha collapsed, unconscious and slightly electrocuted. Silence. Then whispers. The Hyuga prodigy had just defeated the last Uchiha using a technique that should have been impossible to counter. Naruto actually clapped slowly from the balcony. Not bad, princess. You're learning. The other matches concluded. Gaara, a sand genin who fought using sand manipulation and displayed terrifying power, crushed Shikamaru despite the Nara's tactical genius. The sound genin Dosu demonstrated sound-based techniques similar to the team Naruto had fought earlier. Shino Aburame won through his clan's insect techniques. The finals were set. Quarterfinals, Naruto versus Dosu, Lee versus Neji, Gaara versus Choji, who'd advanced after his opponent withdrew. Shino versus a sand kunoichi named Tamari's brother. The finals would be held in 1 month, giving competitors time to train and recover. More importantly, it gave villages time to assemble their dignitaries and make their political arrangements. The finals were as much diplomatic theater as combat exhibition. The month between preliminaries and finals saw Team Fist training with renewed intensity. Guy pushed them harder than ever, recognizing that the finals would showcase Konoha's strength to the world. For Lee, it meant refining his speed even further. Guy taught him techniques he'd planned to save for later. Inner gates, a forbidden taijutsu method that removed the body's natural limiters. Opening even one gate increased power dramatically. Opening multiple could kill the user. But Lee's determination was absolute. For Neji, it meant mastering the Hyuga clan's most advanced technique, 8 trigram 64 palms, a combination attack that sealed every major chakra point. He also developed something new, a defensive technique using the Byakugan's complete vision to create an absolute defense through perfectly timed chakra emission. For Naruto, it meant nothing changed. He trained as he always did, by fighting the strongest opponents available and pushing his limits. Guy sparred with him daily, their exchanges creating craters and destruction that made other jonin nervous. But more importantly, Naruto spent time in his mindscape, facing the Nine Tails directly for the first time since gaining full control. The seal chamber was massive, dark, with bars that contained a creature of pure malevolence and power. Kurama the Nine Tails lay behind those bars, eyes glowing with ancient hatred, form radiating killing intent that would drive most people insane. "So you finally come to visit," Kurama rumbled. "What do you want, Vessel?" "A conversation," Naruto said, walking right up to the bars with zero hesitation. "You and I need to understand each other better." Kurama's eyes narrowed. "You're not like the others. The previous host feared me, tried to suppress me, saw me as an enemy to be controlled. You treat me like a weapon to be used." "Wrong," Naruto corrected. "I treat you like what you are, a source of power, but also a living thing with your own will." He met Kurama's gaze steadily. "I don't want to control you. I want to work with you. 2 predators coordinating instead of fighting each other." "Why would I cooperate with you?" "Because we both want the same thing, to fight strong opponents and prove ourselves superior. And because if we fight each other, we both lose. But if we work together," Naruto smiled, "nothing could stop us." Kurama studied him for a long moment. This human was different, arrogant, brutal, completely lacking the self-righteous heroism that made previous hosts so irritating. This one was honest about what he was. "You're not afraid of me," Kurama observed. "Should I be? You're behind bars, and even if you weren't, fear is useless. You're either stronger than me or you're not. If you are, being afraid won't help. If you're not, there's nothing to fear. The fox's lips pulled back from massive fangs in what might have been a grin. I like you, Brad. You're completely insane, but I like you. The malevolence in his aura softened slightly. Very well. We'll cooperate, but understand, I'm not your pet or your tool. I'm a partner. You respect that, and I'll lend you my power willingly. Deal. Naruto extended his fist toward the bars. After a moment, Kurama extended a massive claw. They bumped fist to claw, and something fundamental shifted in their relationship. The seal remained, but the antagonism behind it dissolved. When Naruto exited his mindscape, he felt different, stronger, more complete. Kurama's chakra flowed through him naturally now, not forced or suppressed, but integrated. The partnership made him even more dangerous than before. Guy noticed immediately during their next spar. Your chakra flow has changed. What did you do? Made a friend, Naruto replied cryptically. The month passed quickly. The day of the finals arrived with fanfare and ceremony. The arena was packed with thousands of spectators. Dignitaries from multiple villages sat in special boxes. The Hokage himself presided over the event, alongside the Kazakage of Sand and representatives from other nations. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation. The first match, Naruto versus Dosu, was anticlimactic by design. Dosu had watched Naruto's preliminary match, studied reports, and concluded his only chance was using sound waves to disrupt Naruto's balance while staying at range. It was a solid strategy. It would have worked against most opponents. Naruto closed the distance in less than a second, moving so fast that Dosu's sound-based attacks couldn't track him. A single palm strike to the chest, and Dosu flew backward into the arena wall. He tried to rise, couldn't, and was declared unconscious. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. Time elapsed 3 seconds. The crowd erupted, some in excitement at the display of raw power, others in shock at how casually Naruto had dismantled his opponent. The dignitaries leaned forward with renewed interest. This was the ogre of Konoha they'd heard about. Lee versus Neji was a different story entirely. Two teammates who trained together for months, each knowing the other's capabilities intimately. Lee had his speed, Neji had his technique. The match became a showcase of pure taijutsu mastery. Lee opened the first gate, his speed increasing dramatically. Neji responded with 8 trigrams, 64 palms, his hands becoming blurs as he targeted chakra points. Lee dodged most strikes, but enough landed to slow him down. Neji, Lee called out, breathing hard, your skills have improved tremendously, but I also have been training. He dropped into a new stance. Second gate, gate of healing, open. His chakra spiked. Speed increased again. The exchange became impossible for most spectators to track, 2 blurs colliding repeatedly, each impact creating shockwaves, but the gate's technique had a cost. Lee's body couldn't maintain it indefinitely. Neji recognized this, played defensively, waited for the moment Lee's stamina would fail. When it came, Neji struck with perfect precision. 8 trigrams, 64 palms, all 64 chakra points sealed in rapid succession. Lee collapsed, unable to maintain his gate's enhancement, unable to mold chakra at all. Winner, Neji Hyuga. The crowd gave a standing ovation. That match had been spectacular, showcasing what shinobi combat could achieve through pure skill and dedication. Gaara's match against Choji was disturbing by comparison. The Sand Genin's control over sand was absolute. He defended without effort, his sand automatically protecting him from any attack. His offense was brutal, sand tendrils that crushed, suffocated, and killed. Choji fought valiantly, employing his clan's expansion techniques and rolling attacks, but nothing penetrated Gaara's defense. And when Gaara finally attacked seriously, encasing Choji in a sphere of sand and beginning to compress it, the proctor called the match. Winner, Gaara. But Gaara didn't stop. The sand kept compressing. Choji screamed. Blood began leaking from the sphere. I said the match is over, the proctor shouted. Gaara ignored him. His expression was empty, disconnected, like he couldn't even hear the words. The sand compressed further. Choji's screams cut off. Naruto appeared next to Gaara instantly. His hand gripped the Sand Genin's shoulder. He said, "Stop." Gaara turned his head slowly, unnaturally. His eyes were wrong, no sanity behind them, only violence and madness. Why should I? Because if you kill him, I'll kill you, Naruto stated simply. And you're not ready for that fight yet. The sand sphere collapsed, releasing Choji, who was immediately pulled to safety by medical ninja. Gaara stared at Naruto for a long moment, then something shifted in his expression, recognition, perhaps even understanding, like recognizing a kindred spirit. "You're like me," Gaara said quietly. "You understand what it means to be strong." "I understand that strength without control is just weakness wearing a different mask," Naruto replied. "Kill your opponents in combat if necessary, but this," he gestured to where medical teams worked on Choji. "This is just pathetic showing off." Gaara was silent. Then, incredibly, he nodded and walked away. The crowd had gone quiet. The dignitaries whispered frantically. That exchange had revealed more than any fight could. Naruto could make even the insane Gaara, host of the one-tailed beast, back down. The final preliminary match concluded. Shino defeated his opponent through strategic use of his insects. Then the semifinals brackets were announced. Semifinal 1, Naruto Uzumaki versus Neji Hyuga. Semifinal 2, Gaara versus Shino Burame. Naruto versus Neji was the match everyone wanted to see. Teacher versus student. Ogre versus prodigy. Two members of the same team who trained together but never fought seriously. They stood opposite each other in the arena. Neji activated his Byakugan immediately, understanding that any hesitation against Naruto meant defeat. "Naruto, I've watched you fight for months. I've studied your techniques, analyzed your patterns. I know how you move." "And?" Naruto asked, completely relaxed. "And I believe I can win. Not through superior strength. I acknowledge you're physically stronger, but through technique, precision, and the Hyuga clan's mastery of chakra point manipulation." Neji took his gentle fist stance. "I will prove that genius and technique can overcome brute strength." Naruto smiled. "Princess, you've definitely grown, but you're still thinking too small." The proctor signaled the start. Neji attacked immediately with 8 trigram 64 palms, his hands blurring toward Naruto's chakra points. The speed was impressive, faster than he'd moved against Lee, clearly having held back in the previous match. Naruto employed dress, his body swaying around strikes with minimal movement. But Neji had anticipated this. His Byakugan allowed him to track even Naruto's subtle shifts. Several strikes landed, sealing chakra points throughout Naruto's arm. "Gotcha," Neji breathed, already transitioning to his next combination. Then Naruto punched him with the sealed arm. Neji barely blocked in time, and the impact sent him skidding backward. His eyes widened behind his Byakugan. "Impossible. I sealed your chakra points. You shouldn't be able to." "Wrong assumption, princess. You think I rely on chakra for physical strength?" Naruto cracked his neck. "I told you before, your bloodline techniques don't matter before me. Not because they're weak, but because my strength comes from somewhere else entirely." He demonstrated by flexing. The demon back manifested partially, just enough to show the demonic face forming on his shoulders. Neji's Byakugan showed him the truth. Naruto's physical power didn't flow through chakra pathways at all. It was muscular, genetic, something the gentle fist couldn't target effectively. Neji adapted instantly. If chakra point sealing didn't work, he'd rely on impact-based strikes targeting physical structures. His gentle fist became heavier, trading precision for force. The exchange that followed was spectacular. Neji's technique versus Naruto's power. The Hyuga prodigy landed dozens of strikes, each one calculated to damage specific muscle groups, joints, or bone structures. Naruto absorbed the damage and countered with strikes that would have killed most jonin. "You're getting better," Naruto acknowledged, dodging a particularly clever combination. "Few months ago, you'd have been paced by now." "I learned from the best," Neji replied, actually smiling despite the pain. "You taught me that limits are meant to be broken." They clashed again, and this time Naruto pushed harder. His speed increased. His strikes became more aggressive. He employed techniques Neji had never seen. Bone-breaking strike series, targeting Neji's defensive posture. Pressure point devastation, adapted to target the Bakugan's blind spot. Ground-shaking fists that created shockwaves through the arena floor. Neji defended brilliantly, his complete vision allowing him to track even these advanced techniques. He countered with everything in his arsenal. Rotation, a technique that created an absolute defense through chakra emission and spinning motion. 8 trigrams 128 palms, a more advanced version of his earlier attack. But ultimately, the gap in raw power was too vast. Naruto caught Neji's rotation mid-spin, stopped it through pure strength, and delivered a palm strike to Neiji's chest that knocked the wind from his lungs and sent him crashing to the ground. Neji tried to rise. Couldn't. His body had reached its limit. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. The crowd went wild. That had been a real fight. Two skilled opponents pushing each other to their limits. Naruto offered his hand to Neji, who took it after a moment. As Naruto pulled him up, he said quietly, "You almost had me a few times." That rotation catch? That was desperate. If you'd pushed harder right there, you might have won. Neji's eyes widened. Coming from Naruto, that was incredible praise. Thank you, Naruto. Don't thank me. Train harder. Next time we fight, I want you to actually push me to use the demon back at full power. Gaara versus Shino was shorter and more brutal. Shino's insects couldn't penetrate Gaara's sand defense. Gaara's sand crushed Shino's defensive formations effortlessly. The match ended when Gaara encased Shino in a sand coffin, then mercifully stopped before crushing it when the proctor called it. The finals were set. Naruto Uzumaki versus Gaara of the Sand. The final match would be held after a brief intermission, allowing both fighters to recover and the dignitaries to place their bets. The Hokage and Kazekage conferred quietly in their box while the crowd buzzed with anticipation. In the preparation area, Guy approached Naruto. "Be careful with Gaara. He's a Jinchuriki like you, host to the one-tailed beast. But unlike you, he's unstable. The beast influences his behavior, makes him unpredictable and extremely dangerous." "I know," Naruto said. "I could tell when I grabbed him earlier. His chakra signature is similar to mine, but corrupted, twisted. He's not in control. Can you win without killing him? Politically, killing a Kazekage's son would be—" "I don't plan to kill him," Naruto interrupted. "I plan to beat him so thoroughly he remembers what it means to lose." The arena fell silent as both finalists entered. Naruto and Gaara stood across from each other, and the contrast was stark. Naruto radiated controlled menace, a predator who knew exactly what he was. Gaara emanated chaotic violence, a creature barely constrained by human form. "Mother wants your blood," Gaara said, his voice hollow. "She says you'll prove our existence." "I don't know who your mother is," Naruto replied, "but if she wants blood, tell her to come get it herself instead of sending you." "I am Mother!" Gaara screamed, sand erupting around him in violent waves. "I am proof of my existence through your death." The proctor barely got out of the way before signaling the match start. Gaara's sand attacked like a living thing, tendrils, waves, crushing spheres, all moving with speed that seemed impossible for something so heavy. It attacked from every angle simultaneously, trying to engulf Naruto and crush him the way it had crushed so many before. Naruto moved through it like smoke, dress technique at maximum efficiency, his body flowing around attacks with zero wasted energy. Where the sand tried to grab him, he wasn't there. Where it tried to crush him, he'd already moved. "Impossible," Gaara shrieked. "Why can't I catch you? Why won't you let me prove I exist?" "Because you're slow," Naruto stated flatly. He accelerated, closing the distance before Gaara's sand could intercept. His fist drove into Gaara's absolute defense, the automatic sand shield that had never been penetrated. It cracked, not broke, not destroyed, but cracked. Hairline fractures appeared in the sand shield, and through those cracks, Naruto's punch touched Gaara's cheek, barely. Just enough to leave a mark. Gaara's eyes went wide. He touched his face, saw blood on his fingers, his own blood, something he hadn't seen in years, and something broke inside him. "Blood, my blood, I'm bleeding." His expression twisted between ecstasy and horror. "Mother is pleased. I must give her more blood, your blood." The sand around him turned black. Not physically, but the chakra infusing it became dark, corrupted. The one-tailed beast was taking over. Gaara's form began changing, his body growing, morphing, becoming less human and more monstrous. The proctor looked to the Hokage's box. Hiruzen stood, ready to call the match before it became an incident. But before he could, Naruto's chakra exploded outward. Red, violent, unmistakable. The Nine-Tails power manifested around him like a cloak. Not fully, not the complete transformation that would level the arena, but enough. Enough to match Gaara's partial transformation. Enough to make a statement. The two Jinchuriki faced each other, both partially transformed, both radiating the power of the beasts within them. The crowd had gone completely silent. Even the dignitaries had stopped their political maneuvering to watch. "You want to prove you exist?" Naruto asked, his voice slightly distorted by Kurama's influence. Fine, let's see which of us is real. They collided. The impact created a shockwave that shattered windows throughout the arena. Sand versus Chakra Cloak, the One-Tail's defense against the Nine-Tail's offense. They exchanged blows at speeds that blurred even to trained shinobi eyes. Gaara's sand formed massive constructs, claws, spears, crushing spheres. Naruto's enhanced strength shattered them. His speed let him dodge what he couldn't destroy. And his demon back, manifesting even through the chakra cloak, amplified everything to absurd levels. But Gaara's partial transformation gave him abilities beyond human norms. His sand could attack from any angle. His defense regenerated instantly. His connection to the One-Tail granted him seemingly infinite chakra to draw from. The match should have been impossible for Naruto to win. He was outnumbered, one person versus Gaara, plus the One-Tail. He was fighting an opponent with defensive abilities specifically designed to counter physical attacks, and he was doing it in front of an audience that limited his options for ultra-violence. So naturally, he was enjoying himself. Now this is fun. Naruto laughed, dodging a sand spear that would have impaled him. You're actually making me work for it. His fist connected with Gaara's partially transformed body, and the sand genin crashed through the arena wall. Before he could recover, Naruto was on him, employing his complete arsenal. Bone-breaking strike series that shattered sand constructs. Pressure point devastation, targeting the points where Gaara's human form met the beast's influence. Ogre's dash to maintain constant pressure that prevented Gaara from fully transforming. The tactics were working. Slowly, incrementally, Naruto was pushing Gaara back toward humanity. Each strike that landed disrupted the transformation slightly. Each moment of overwhelming pressure gave Gaara's consciousness room to reassert itself. Why? Gaara screamed, more human now than before. Why do you fight? Why do you exist? Everyone fears you, just like they fear me. You should understand. You should know that proving existence through killing is all we have. Naruto stopped mid-strike. His chakra cloak faded partially as he actually considered the question. You're right that people fear me, and you're right that we're similar, but you're wrong about one thing. He pointed at where Team Fist watched from the stands. Lee was crying tears of inspiration. Neji watched with pride. Guy beamed with paternal approval. I don't need to prove I exist by killing. I exist because I'm strong, because I can protect the people who matter to me, because there are still opponents out there who can push me to my limits. His eyes locked onto Gaara's. You exist for the same reason, not because you kill, not because you're feared, but because you're here, fighting, struggling, surviving. Gaara's transformation halted. The sand fell away. The One-Tail's influence receded. He stood there, human again, looking at Naruto with an expression between confusion and understanding. I exist? Yeah, princess, you exist. The proctor, seeing the threat had passed, called the match. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. The crowd erupted. But the cheers were different now. Not just excitement at violence, but genuine appreciation for what they'd witnessed. Two monsters who'd chosen to be human. Two weapons who decided to think for themselves. In the Kaji box, Hiruzen breathed a sigh of relief. The match had nearly become a disaster, but had instead become something remarkable. Beside him, the Kazekage, or the man claiming to be the Kazekage, sat very still, his plans suddenly complicated by variables he hadn't anticipated. The award ceremony was surprisingly brief. Naruto was declared the Chunin exams champion and technically promoted to Chunin rank, though everyone understood the rank was meaningless for someone of his capabilities. More important were the political ramifications. Konoha had just demonstrated possession of a Jinchuriki who could casually defeat other villages' Jinchuriki while maintaining control. But before the ceremony could conclude, before the dignitaries could disperse and the politics could begin in earnest, the sky split. Explosions rocked the arena. Sound Ninja appeared throughout the crowd, releasing sleeping gas that dropped most civilians instantly. Sand and Sound Shinobi revealed themselves, attacking Konoha Ninja in coordinated strikes. And in the Kage box, the Kazekage made its move. He wasn't the Kazekage. The disguise dropped, revealing Orochimaru, the legendary Sannin, former Konoha Ninja, and one of the most dangerous individuals alive. His hands formed seals, and a barrier snapped into place around the Kage box, trapping him and Hiruzen inside. Orochimaru, Hiruzen said, his voice cold. I should have known you'd choose today. Sensei, Orochimaru replied with mock affection. You've grown old, weak. It's time Konoha had new leadership, and I've brought friends to help convince you. 3 coffins erupted from the ground. The first Hokage, the second Hokage, Orochimaru's forbidden jutsu, Edo Tensei, reanimation of the dead. In the arena below, the invasion had begun in earnest. Sound and Sand Ninja attacked from all sides. Konoha defenders responded, but they were outnumbered and caught off guard. Civilians screamed, buildings burned. The systematic destruction of Konoha had begun. Naruto stood in the center of the arena, watching the chaos unfold around him. His expression was utterly calm, almost bored. Guy Sensei, he called up to where Team Fist was defending their section. Permission to engage enemies with prejudice? Guy, currently fighting 3 sound jonin simultaneously, laughed. Permission granted. Protect the village, Naruto. Finally, Naruto's chakra exploded outward, not the controlled release he'd shown against Gaara. Full power. The Nine-Tails chakra mixed with his own monstrous strength, creating an aura of pure violence that made everyone in the arena pause. Listen up. His voice carried across the entire battlefield, amplified by chakra to ensure every enemy heard. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Some of you call me the Ogre of Konoha. Today you're going to learn why. He moved. The first group of sound ninja died before they could react. Naruto appeared in their midst, and they simply ceased existing in any functional sense, broken bodies flung across the arena. He transitioned immediately to the next group, a squad of sand shinobi who'd been attacking civilians. They had time to see him coming. It didn't help. His demon back manifested at full power. The demonic face on his spine grinned with savage glee as Naruto tore through enemy formations like they were paper. Techniques that should have worked, earth walls, water prisons, genjutsu illusions, all failed against his overwhelming physical presence. A sound jonin tried to use the same sound wave attacks that had troubled Naruto before. Naruto caught the man's throat, crushed his larynx, and threw the body into 3 other enemies hard enough to kill all 4. Next, he called out casually. A group of sand shinobi recognized him from the exams. Their leader, a special jonin who thought himself powerful, made a tactical decision. Retreat! That's Uzumaki! We can't! Naruto appeared behind him. The weak don't get to choose how they die. The sand special jonin collapsed, spine shattered. His squad tried to scatter. None of them made it 10 feet. Throughout the arena, Konoha defenders rallied. Seeing Naruto, the ogre, the legend, the monster, fighting on their side gave them courage. The tide began turning. Lee fought with enhanced speed. His training with Naruto having pushed him to new levels. He saved civilians, engaged multiple enemies, and actually managed to defeat a sound jonin through pure technique and determination. His youthful spirit, usually an annoyance to some, became infectious courage in battle. Neji coordinated defenses using his Byakugan, calling out enemy positions and weaknesses. His gentle fist style adapted to combat effectiveness rather than demonstration, and he proved why the Hyuga were considered one of Konoha's strongest clans. Every strike disabled enemies completely. Guy engaged the Sound's elite forces, his taijutsu mastery making him effectively untouchable. He'd opened multiple inner gates, and the resulting power let him fight entire squads alone. His dynamic entry became a finishing move that enemies learned to fear. And Naruto? Naruto was everywhere, moving through the battlefield like a plague, destroying enemies with brutal efficiency. He saved a group of academy students cornered by sand shinobi. He collapsed a building that was about to fall on civilians. He intercepted a massive summoned snake that was rampaging through residential areas, killed it with his bare hands, and used its corpse to crush another squad of enemies. The invasion force had anticipated strong resistance. They hadn't anticipated Naruto. In the Kage box, Hiruzen fought his former student while feeling every one of his 69 years. The first and second Hokage, reanimated and under Orochimaru's control, attacked with techniques that had defined an era. Orochimaru watched with sadistic pleasure as his sensei struggled. "You've grown weak, sensei," Orochimaru taunted. "This is what happens when you cling to sentiment, when you let the village stagnate, when you refuse to embrace what shinobi truly are, weapons." "You're wrong," Hiruzen gasped, deflecting an attack from the first Hokage's wood release. Shinobi are people first, tools second. That's what you never understood. Sentiment, Orochimaru hissed, and sentiment will kill you. But before he could press his advantage, something crashed through the barrier surrounding them. Impossible. The barrier had been specifically designed to prevent outside interference. Nothing should have penetrated it. Naruto stood where the barrier had been, his fist still extended from the punch that had shattered it. His demon back was fully manifested. His eyes held cold fury, and his attention was locked entirely on Orochimaru. "Old man," Naruto said, addressing Hiruzen without looking at him. "You okay? Naruto? How did you?" "Punch through it. Wasn't that strong?" He finally looked at Orochimaru. "You're Orochimaru, the one who made those defective sound genin, the one causing all this chaos." His smile was predatory. "I've been wanting to meet you." Orochimaru's eyes widened briefly before his composure returned. "The Jinchuriki. How fascinating. My sound ninja reported you were strong, but to break through that barrier..." He studied Naruto with interest bordering on hunger. "You'd make an excellent vessel." "Vessel?" Naruto's smile widened. "Is that what you call the bodies you steal? How many have you gone through? How many people's lives have you taken because you're too weak to survive on your own?" Orochimaru's composure cracked slightly. "I am not weak. I am eternal. I am evolution itself." "You're a parasite," Naruto corrected. "And parasites die when you remove their hosts." He moved. Orochimaru tried to defend, summoning snakes as barriers. Naruto punched through them. The reanimated Hokages attacked in coordination. Naruto destroyed the second with a combination that disrupted the reanimation technique itself. The first proved more durable, but Naruto adapted, targeting the technique's anchor points that his combat instinct identified. "Impossible!" Orochimaru shrieked as his prized jutsu fell apart. "Edo Tensei can't be defeated by physical force alone." "Wrong," Naruto replied. "Everything can be defeated. You just need to be strong enough." He grabbed what served as the first Hokage's reanimated form, tore it apart with his bare hands, and scattered the pieces before the technique could regenerate them. Orochimaru stared in horror as his trump cards dissolved into dust. "Just you and me now," Naruto said, turning his full attention to the Sannin. "Want to know what happens when a parasite meets a predator?" Orochimaru tried everything. Snake summons that Naruto killed as fast as they appeared. Sword techniques using the legendary Kusanagi that Naruto caught and bent. Even his trademark technique, turning into a mass of snakes to attack from all angles, failed when Naruto simply crushed all the snakes simultaneously. The fight wasn't even close. Orochimaru was legendary, had decades of experience, possessed forbidden knowledge that made him one of the Sannin. None of it mattered. Naruto was simply operating on a different level entirely. "You can't kill me," Orochimaru gasped, bleeding from multiple wounds. "I'm immortal. I've transcended death itself." "Immortal?" Naruto grabbed him by the throat. "Let's test that." He began systematically breaking Orochimaru's body. Ribs shattered, spine fractured in multiple places, limbs bent at wrong angles. And when Orochimaru tried to shed his body and transfer to a new one, his secret technique for escaping death, Naruto simply punched him in the instant between bodies, disrupting the technique completely. Orochimaru collapsed, gasping, broken. For the first time in decades, he felt genuine fear. This wasn't a fight. It was extermination. "Your jutsu, your knowledge, your experience," Naruto said, standing over the fallen Sannin. "None of it matters before me. That's what you couldn't understand. There's no amount of cheating that overcomes someone just being stronger than you." He raised his fist for the finishing blow. "Naruto, stop!" Hiruzen's voice, weak but firm. The old Hokage stood, wounded but alive, looking at his student as village's greatest weapon. "Don't kill him." "Why not?" Naruto asked, genuinely confused. "He invaded the village, killed people, attacked you. Why should he live?" "Because killing him here now makes you no better than him. Because mercy is what separates us from monsters." Hiruzen met Naruto's eyes. "Because I'm asking you, as your Hokage, to let me handle this." Naruto studied the old man, then looked at Orochimaru, then sighed. "Fine, but if he escapes, I'm holding you responsible, old man." He stepped away. Hiruzen approached his former student, and what followed was a private conversation between teacher and pupil that Naruto didn't listen to. He had other things to handle. The invasion was still ongoing throughout the village. Naruto leaped from the Kage box and landed in the arena below. The remaining sound and sand forces saw him coming. Most surrendered immediately. Those who didn't learned why that was a mistake. By sunset, the invasion was over. Orochimaru had escaped during the distraction of the final enemy push, wounded severely but alive. The sound and sand forces who'd participated were dead, captured, or had fled. Konoha stood, damaged but victorious. The casualty count was significant. Hundreds of civilians dead, dozens of shinobi killed or wounded. Property destruction in the millions. But it could have been worse, much worse. Without Naruto's intervention, the invasion might have succeeded. The aftermath of the invasion saw Konoha adapting to new realities. The alliance with Sand Village was in shambles. Their real Kazekage had been killed and replaced by Orochimaru months ago. Sound Village was designated an enemy nation, and Naruto became, overnight, both celebrated and feared throughout the shinobi world. Stories of his defense spread, how he'd single-handedly stopped multiple invasion squads, how he'd broken through a barrier that should have been impenetrable, how he'd driven off one of the Sannin through pure physical dominance. The Ogre of Konoha became legend rather than just rumor. Hiruzen summoned Team Fist 1 week after the invasion. His office was quieter now, the walls showing scars from the battle, the man himself looking older than ever. "I wanted to thank you three personally," Hiruzen said. "Lee, your protection of civilians saved dozens of lives. Neji, your tactical coordination prevented what could have been a complete breakdown of our defensive formations. And Naruto." He looked at the boy who'd become a weapon. "You changed the entire course of the battle." Orochimaru admitted later he'd planned around every possible defense except you. "Your power is what saved Konoha." "Just did my job," Naruto said with his characteristic dismissiveness. "It was more than that, and I want to make an offer." Hiruzen's expression became serious. "Naruto Uzumaki, I'm officially offering you promotion to Jonin rank, effective immediately. You've more than demonstrated the necessary capabilities." Silence. Lee looked shocked. Neji looked thoughtful. Guy looked proud. Bored. "No thanks," Naruto said. Everyone stared. "What?" Hiruzen managed. "Rank is pointless. It's just a title. What matters is strength, and I don't need a fancy title to prove I'm strong. If you want me to do Jonin level missions, fine, but I don't need the promotion." Hiruzen studied him for a long moment. "Very well. But Naruto, understand. Your actions have consequences. Other villages now know what you're capable of. They'll come after you, either to recruit you or eliminate you. And there are individuals in this world who match even your abilities. Are you prepared for that?" "I've been waiting for it," Naruto replied. "The Chunin exams were fun. The invasion was slightly more fun. But I still haven't found anyone who can push me to my absolute limit." His smile was pure anticipation. "So yeah, let them come. Let everyone come. I'll show them the same thing I showed Orochimaru, that there's no amount of technique, experience, or political power that beats someone just being stronger than you." Guy stepped forward. "Lord Hokage, with your permission, I'd like to take Team Fist on a training journey. 3 months, traveling through Fire Country and beyond. They've proven themselves here. Now they need exposure to different fighting styles, different threats. They need to grow beyond what Konoha alone can teach them." Hiruzen considered this. It would remove Naruto from the village during a vulnerable period. But it would also make him harder to target and give him the growth opportunities he clearly craved. "Approved, but Guy, keep them safe. And Naruto, try not to start any wars." "Can't promise that," Naruto said honestly, "but I'll try to only finish them." The training journey took Team Fist across Fire Country and into neighboring territories. They visited remote training grounds where legendary battles had occurred. They challenged dojos whose masters claimed unbeatable techniques. They even spent time in neutral towns where shinobi from multiple villages gathered. For Lee, it was educational. He learned techniques from various taijutsu schools, incorporating them into his own style. His speed continued increasing until even Jonin had difficulty tracking his movements. And he opened the third gate successfully, something that typically required years more training. For Neji, it was revolutionary. He encountered Hyuga branch family members who'd escaped the clan's control, learning forbidden techniques his clan suppressed. He developed his own style that merged traditional gentle fist with aggressive striking techniques. And he began working on a technique he called Kaiten, a perfect 360-degree defense. For Naruto, it was exactly what he'd been missing. Real challenges. Actual opponents who could make him try. They encountered a rogue samurai who'd supposedly never been defeated. Naruto beat him in a straight sword versus fist duel that destroyed the samurai's unbeaten record and his pride. They challenged an underground fighting ring where bloodline users fought for money. Naruto fought 12 matches in one night and won all of them. They even encountered a missing nin with a reputation for killing Jonin, who lasted all of 30 seconds before Naruto ended him. But the most significant encounter came near the border of Earth Country. They'd stopped in a small town for supplies when Guy suddenly tensed. His instincts, honed through decades of combat, recognized a presence nearby that made his skin crawl. Students, stay alert. There's someone here who's dangerous. A man appeared, walking casually down the street like he owned it. He was tall, muscular, with wild hair and an expression somewhere between bored and amused. His eyes swept over Team Fist, dismissed Guy and the others, and locked onto Naruto. Well, well, the man said. You're the ogre of Konoha. Been hearing interesting stories. Wanted to see if they were true. Naruto's predatory instincts flared. This man was different. Strong. Actually strong. Who are you? Name's Ashura. I hunt strong opponents for fun. Heard about a kid demolishing special jonin, breaking barriers, fighting Sannin. Figured I'd check if you're worth the hype or just another overrated brat. Guy stepped forward. This isn't necessary. We don't want... Wasn't talking to you, Ashura interrupted, still looking at Naruto. So what do you say, kid? Want to find out how strong you really are? Naruto's smile was savage. Finally, someone who might actually be interesting. They moved away from the town, finding an empty field where collateral damage wouldn't matter. Guy and the others watched from a safe distance, recognizing this was beyond their ability to interfere with. Ashura took a casual fighting stance. Just so we're clear, I don't hold back, I don't do mercy, and I definitely don't stop just because someone says uncle. Perfect, Naruto replied. Neither do I. They attacked simultaneously. The exchange that followed was beyond anything Naruto had experienced. Ashura was fast, actually fast, not Genin pretending to be fast. His strikes hit like sledgehammers, each one precise and devastating. His technique was refined through years of actual combat against real opponents. Naruto employed every technique he had, dressed to avoid strikes, scanning to find weaknesses. Aiki redirect to use Ashura's momentum against him. None of it was quite enough. For the first time in months, Naruto was being pushed back. He loved it. His demon back manifested fully. Ashura actually grinned. Now we're talking. They clashed at speeds that blurred the air. Each impact created shockwaves. The ground cratered beneath them, and neither gave an inch. You're strong, Ashura acknowledged, blocking a bone-breaking strike that would have shattered a normal opponent. Stronger than most adults I fought. But you're raw, untested. You've been fighting weaklings and thinking you're invincible. And you talk too much, Naruto countered, his fist connecting with Ashura's ribs hard enough to break them. Or should have. The man just grinned through the pain. Pain's just weakness leaving the body, kid. Let me show you what real combat looks like. Ashura escalated. His techniques became more brutal, his combinations more complex. He demonstrated mastery that came from fighting hundreds of real battles against real opponents. Where Naruto relied on instinct and overwhelming power, Ashura combined power with decades of experience. The fight lasted 2 hours. 2 hours of continuous, brutal exchange where neither fighter gave ground they didn't take back immediately. Naruto pushed himself harder than ever, and Ashura responded in kind. By the end, both were bleeding, exhausted, and grinning like maniacs. Draw, Ashura called out, backing off. You're not ready to beat me yet, kid. But you're getting there. Few more years, you'll be a real monster. Naruto wanted to continue, but his body was at its limit. Next time, I won't let you draw. Looking forward to it. Ashura walked away casually, as if they just had a friendly spar instead of a fight that destroyed a quarter-mile of terrain. Keep getting stronger, Ogre. I want our next fight to be legendary. As he left, Guy approached Naruto carefully. That man, I don't recognize him from any bingo book. Who is he? Don't know, Naruto admitted. But he's the first person who's actually made me try in months. I want to fight him again. You will, Guy said quietly. Men like that, men like you, you're drawn to each other. Strength recognizes strength. The encounter changed something in Naruto. For the first time, he'd faced an opponent who was genuinely better than him. Not through tricks or gimmicks, but through pure superiority. And instead of being discouraged, he was motivated. The remaining months of their training journey saw Naruto pushing himself even harder. His techniques refined, his power increased, and his understanding of combat evolved from hit things until they stop to genuine tactical mastery. By the time they returned to Konoha, Team Fist had become something more than just strong genin. They were a cohesive unit of warriors who tested themselves against the world and emerged refined. Lee had become a taijutsu specialist capable of fighting jonin-level opponents. Neji had transcended his clan's limitations to forge his own path, and Naruto had matured from a raw weapon into a refined predator. The village welcomed them back as heroes. Stories of their journey had reached Konoha ahead of them, villages they'd helped, enemies they'd defeated, challenges they'd overcome. The Ogre of Konoha had become a title of respect rather than fear, at least within Fire Country. But while they'd been away, the world had continued moving. Political situations had evolved. New threats had emerged. And Orochimaru, wounded but alive, had been busy gathering allies for another attempt at destroying Konoha. The stage was set for conflicts to come. Naruto Uzumaki, the boy with the spirit of the strongest creature dwelling within him, stood ready to face whatever challenges arose, because being strong meant being strong. That's all there was to it, and he was just getting started. The story of Naruto Uzumaki, the Ogre of Konoha, the boy who broke every limitation placed before him, would continue. His battles would become legendary, his power would reshape the shinobi world, and his journey toward ultimate strength would challenge everything the ninja nations believed about power, destiny, and what it meant to be human. But that tale would have to wait for another day. For now, Team Fist stood together in Konoha, surrounded by comrades, preparing for the challenges ahead. 3 warriors bound by shared combat and mutual respect, ready to face whatever threats emerged. Lee with his boundless determination and youthful spirit, proving daily that hard work could overcome genius. Neji with his evolving philosophy and transcendent technique, escaping his clan's cage through sheer skill. And Naruto with his overwhelming power and absolute confidence, embodying the simple truth that strength was its own justification. Together, they would face the world. Together, they would overcome any obstacle. Together, they would show the shinobi nations what true power looked like when unleashed without restraint. The Ogre of Konoha had arrived, and the world would never be the same. 3 years had passed since Team Fist returned to Konoha as heroes. 3 years since the invasion that should have destroyed the village, but instead became a demonstration of what true power looked like. 3 years since Naruto Uzumaki broke Orochimaru's body and drove off one of the Sannin like a misbehaving dog. The shinobi world had changed in those 3 years. Not because of politics or diplomacy or the traditional power structures that had governed nations for generations. It changed because everyone now knew a single, inescapable truth. Naruto Uzumaki was inevitable. The confirmation came on a humid afternoon in Wave Country, where a coalition of missing Nin, 17 A-rank criminals, and 3 S-rank legends who'd escaped their respective villages' Hunter Nin had gathered to form what they called the Demon Slayers. Their goal was simple: kill the Ogre of Konoha and prove that no single shinobi, no matter how strong, could stand against organized opposition. They'd studied his patterns, analyzed his techniques, prepared counters for every ability he demonstrated during the Chunin exams and invasion. They'd even consulted with survivors of his previous encounters, piecing together a comprehensive tactical profile. Their preparation was thorough. Their strategy was sound. Their resolve was absolute. It didn't matter. Naruto stood in the center of Wave's largest bridge, the same bridge where Team Fist had escorted a caravan years ago, facing 20 opponents who'd collectively killed hundreds of shinobi. His expression was utterly bored. "Let me understand," he said, cracking his knuckles with sounds like gunshots. "You 20 decided that ambushing me together would somehow work better than fighting me individually?" The leader of the Demon Slayers, a missing nin from Cloud Village named Katsuro, who supposedly killed 3 Jonin commanders, stepped forward. "We know your capabilities, Uzumaki. We know you're strong, but strength has limits. 20 A rank and S rank shinobi working in perfect coordination? That's beyond even your." Naruto appeared in front of him instantly. No jutsu, no technique, just pure speed that made the distance between them irrelevant. "You were saying?" His palm strike caught Katsuro in the chest before the man could react. The sound of ribs shattering was audible across the entire bridge. Katsuro's body flew backward, crashed through 2 of his allies, and slammed into the bridge's support structure hard enough to crack stone. "Next," Naruto said, turning to the remaining demon slayers with a smile that held no humor. They attacked as one. Water techniques, lightning jutsu, earth walls, genjutsu illusions, explosive tags, poison mist. Everything they prepared in coordinated waves designed to overwhelm any defense, Naruto's demon back manifested. But it was different now. Where before a single demonic face had appeared on his spine, now there were multiple, 3 distinct faces, each one representing a different aspect of his evolved mastery. The central face grinned with savage joy. The left face held cold calculation. The right face radiated pure violence. The transformation completed in an instant, and suddenly Naruto wasn't just fast. He was everywhere. His first target was a missing nin attempting water prison jutsu. Naruto's fist drove through the technique, through the man's defensive posture, through his ribcage. The body collapsed before it could even register pain. Naruto was already moving, employing what he'd come to call Predator's World, an evolution of his killing intent so refined it created actual psychological pressure. The remaining demon slayers saw their own deaths. Not metaphorically, literally. Naruto's presence created hallucinations of exactly how they were about to die, and for most of them, the visions were accurate. An S-rank missing nin from stone tried to counter with his legendary earth release technique, a dome that supposedly couldn't be broken by anything less than bijuu level power. Naruto punched it once. The dome shattered. The man inside found Naruto's hand around his throat. "Your legendary technique lasted 3 seconds, Naruto observed clinically. "That's disappointing." 0-point strike, a technique he developed specifically for ending fights against supposedly durable opponents. His fist struck in the infinitesimal moment between the man's heartbeats, when the body's natural defenses were at their minimum. The impact bypassed all physical resistance and crushed the heart directly. The body dropped. Naruto moved to the next target, a genjutsu specialist from Leaf, a traitor who'd fled after killing his own squad, attempted his ultimate illusion. For a moment, he thought he had Naruto trapped. Then Naruto grinned at him from within the genjutsu and employed absolute Aiki, redirecting the illusory technique back at its creator with such force that the specialist's mind broke under the feedback. He collapsed, screaming, unable to distinguish reality from nightmare. "Weak," Naruto said, stepping over the writhing body. The remaining demon slayers tried to retreat. Tactical withdrawal, they'd call it. Naruto called it inevitability. They were just delaying when they died, not if. He employed seismic impact series, strikes against the bridge itself that created localized earthquakes, disrupting their footing and preventing escape. 3 missing nin fell into the water below. Naruto leaped after them, and the water turned red. The last S-rank opponent, a man who'd supposedly fought a Hokage to a standstill, made a desperate final stand. He employed forbidden techniques that destroyed his own body in exchange for temporary power multiplication. His strength increased tenfold. His speed doubled. His chakra reserves expanded beyond normal human limits. Naruto matched him anyway. Their exchange lasted all of 10 seconds. The missing 9 threw everything he had. Combinations that had killed Jonin, techniques that violated natural law, desperation moves that should have worked against anyone. Naruto caught his final attack, a chakra-enhanced punch that could crater mountains, and crushed it. Literally crushed the technique in his hand, dispersing the chakra like smoke. Then he demonstrated bone dust technique, precision strikes that reduced the man's entire skeletal structure to powder. The body collapsed like a puppet with cut strings, held together only by skin and muscle that hadn't yet realized the framework beneath was gone. Naruto stood alone on the bridge, surrounded by corpses. 20 of the shinobi world's most dangerous criminals, dead in less than 5 minutes. The Demon Slayer's comprehensive tactical profile, their perfect coordination, their legendary techniques, all meaningless before overwhelming superiority. He looked down at the bodies without emotion. I've killed so many that I've forgotten most of their names. You won't be memorable either. A messenger hawk found him 3 hours later with orders from Konoha. The scroll's contents were brief. Return immediately. Summit meeting with all 5 Kage. Your presence required. Naruto burned the scroll and headed back at a leisurely pace. The Kage could wait. Everyone could wait. Because that's what you did when the Ogre of Konoha decided you would wait. The 5 Kage summit was being held in the Land of Iron, neutral territory, heavily guarded by the samurai who supposedly feared no shinobi. The summit building was a fortress of stone and steel designed to withstand bijuu attacks. Naruto walked through the main entrance like he owned the place. Samurai guards moved to intercept him. Halt! Only Kaj and their immediate bodyguards are. Naruto's killing intent washed over them like a physical wave. 3 collapsed unconscious. The rest backed away, hands shaking too badly to draw weapons. He continued walking without acknowledging their existence. The summit chamber held 5 of the most powerful individuals in the shinobi world. Hiruzen Sarutobi of Leaf, looking older but still commanding. A, the 4th Raikage of Cloud, built like a tank and radiating aggression. Mei Terumi of Mist, beautiful and deadly. Onoki of Stone, ancient and bitter. Angara of Sand, youngest Kage in history, whose eyes tracked Naruto's entrance with recognition. Behind each Kage stood their bodyguards, elite jonin, Anbu commanders, legendary shinobi whose names alone commanded respect. Naruto ignored all of them and sat in a chair clearly not meant for him, propping his feet on the meeting table. You called? Slammed his fist on the table hard enough to crack it. Show some respect, boy. This is a summit of politicians, Naruto interrupted, meeting the Raikage's glare without flinching. 5 people arguing about territories and trade agreements while pretending their decisions matter. His smile was sharp. The shinobi world isn't ruled by Kage, it's ruled by me. You just don't want to admit it. Silence. Absolute, complete silence. Onoki recovered first, his voice carefully neutral. Bold words from someone who isn't even officially Jonin rank. Rank is for people who need validation, Naruto replied. I don't need a title to prove I'm stronger than everyone in this room combined. Arrogant brat. A's bodyguard, his brother B, the 8-Tails Jinchuriki, stepped forward. You think just because you beat some missing nin and fought in one invasion, you're... Sit down, B, I said quietly, his eyes never leaving Naruto. The Raikage was many things, but he wasn't stupid. He recognized genuine danger when he saw it. The boy's reputation isn't exaggeration. Intelligence reports confirm he killed the Demon Slayers coalition 2 days ago. All 20 of them, alone, in under 6 minutes. Mei leaned forward, interest in her eyes. Is that true, Naruto-kun? 20 A and S rank opponents? 19, Naruto corrected. One of them was barely B rank pretending to be higher. Don't insult me by counting trash. Gaara spoke for the first time, his voice hollow. You've killed 463 people since the Chunin exams 3 years ago. I counted based on confirmed reports. 471, Naruto corrected again. Your intelligence missed 8 kills in smaller villages. Understandable, those didn't make enough noise to report. The bodyguards shifted nervously. The Kage exchanged glances. Hiruzen sighed, looking every one of his 70 years. That's why we call this summit. Naruto, your activities have become an international concern. My activities? Naruto's eyebrow raised. You mean doing the missions you assign? Protecting Konoha? Eliminating threats? You're not eliminating threats, Onoki said sharply. You're creating an arms race. Every village is scrambling to develop counters to you specifically. Training programs redesigned around stopping one person. Forbidden techniques being unsealed. We're destabilizing the entire shinobi system because you're too dangerous to ignore. Naruto's smile widened. Good. Maybe the shinobi system needs destabilizing. Maybe you've all gotten too comfortable hiding behind your village's reputations instead of actually being strong. Stood, his considerable height making him tower over the table. Listen carefully, Uzumaki. This summit has one purpose, to establish rules governing your deployment. International agreements on when and where Konoha can use you. Limitations on, no. The single word cut through A's speech like a blade. Naruto stood as well, and despite being shorter than the Raikage, his presence filled the room. You want to put chains on me? Establish rules about where I can go, who I can fight when I'm allowed to be strong. His killing intent began manifesting, not as an attack but as a statement. Try it. See what happens. The temperature in the room dropped. Every bodyguard's hand went to their weapons. The Kage's expressions hardened. This was the moment. Would this become a battle that destroyed the summit entirely, or would someone back down? Gaara stood slowly, his sand stirring. I fought him once, during the Chunin exams. I was at my strongest, controlled by Shukaku's influence, attacking with intent to kill. He looked at each Kage in turn. He broke through my absolute defense with his bare hands. Then he talked me down from full transformation using nothing but words and demonstrated superiority. His gaze returned to Naruto. Trying to control him through agreements is foolish. He's not a weapon to be regulated. He's a force of nature to be respected. The One-Tail's Jinchuriki is right, Mei said thoughtfully, but that doesn't solve our problem. If Naruto-kun remains unregulated, every village will continue developing increasingly dangerous weapons to counter him. The arms race continues. Eventually, someone creates something catastrophic. Then let them, Naruto said simply. Let every village develop whatever they want. Forbidden techniques, ancient weapons, new Jinchuriki transformations, doesn't matter. Because when they're done, when they've created their ultimate answer to me, I'll just be stronger than that too. Onoki laughed bitterly. The arrogance. You think you can just keep growing stronger forever? Every shinobi hits their peak eventually. Then I haven't hit mine yet. Naruto's demon back manifested partially, just enough to show the three faces, each one grinning with different expressions of predatory anticipation. Because I'm still getting bored during fights, still haven't found anyone who can push me to true limits. When I do, when someone actually makes me struggle, then maybe I've peaked. Until then, the demon back faded. I'm just getting started. The summit devolved into heated arguments after that, a wanted military action, some kind of coordinated strike to neutralize the Uzumaki threat. Onoki suggested sealing techniques. Mei proposed diplomatic solutions. Hiruzen defended Naruto's value to Konoha while acknowledging the concerns. Gaara alone remained silent, watching Naruto with something between understanding and resignation. Naruto listened to them argue for exactly 10 minutes. Then he stood and walked out. No permission requested, no acknowledgement of authority. He simply left because he was done. Behind him, a move to pursue. Hiruzen's hand on his shoulder stopped him. Let him go. You can't force that boy to do anything he doesn't want to do. Then what's the point of this summit? I demanded. The point, Gaara said quietly, is that we just learned an important lesson. The world has changed. Used to be that military strength was measured in armies, in villages, in combined forces. Now it's measured in whether you can stop one person. He looked at where Naruto had disappeared. And we can't. Outside the summit building, Naruto found Team Fist waiting for him. Lee stood at rigid attention, his muscular frame even more impressive than 3 years ago. Neji leaned against a wall with aristocratic casualness, his Byakugan deactivated but his awareness obvious. Guy sat cross-legged meditating or napping, hard to tell with him. How'd the summit go? Lee asked eagerly. Boring, Naruto replied. Politicians arguing about how to control things they don't understand. Same as always. Did you at least try to be diplomatic? Neji asked with a smirk. I was very diplomatic. I didn't kill anyone. Guy opened one eye. Your definition of diplomatic continues to worry me, Naruto. But he stood in one fluid motion, his enthusiasm immediately visible. Since you're clearly not interested in political solutions, perhaps you'd enjoy training? I've developed new exercises specifically designed to push even your limits. Naruto's smile became genuine, the expression he reserved for actual challenges. Now that sounds interesting. Training with Guy had evolved significantly over 3 years. Where it used to be weighted exercises and technique refinement, now it bordered on mutual destruction. Guy would open multiple gates. He could safely access up to the 6th now and attack with everything he had. Naruto would defend, counter, adapt, and push back. The sessions regularly destroyed training grounds and occasionally required medical intervention for both of them, but they both loved it. This session was no different. Guy opened the fifth gate immediately, his speed increasing to levels that blurred even to trained eyes. His dynamic entry came from an angle Naruto hadn't anticipated, forcing actual defensive effort. Naruto employed transcendent scanning, an evolution of his basic scanning technique that predicted not just current attacks, but potential future combinations based on opponent psychology and movement patterns. He dodged Guy's kick by micrometers, countered with a palm strike that Guy barely blocked, and they were off. Lee and Neji watched from safe distance, safe being a relative term when watching two monsters fight. Naruto-kun has gotten even faster, Lee observed with something between awe and determination. His movements are more efficient than 3 years ago, less wasted energy, more devastating results. It's not just physical improvement, Neji said, his Byakugan active to track the exchange. His chakra control has reached absurd levels. He's unconsciously reinforcing his body at exactly the moments of impact, maximizing damage while minimizing energy expenditure. It's like watching a perfect machine. A perfect machine that occasionally laughs maniacally while destroying things, Lee corrected. That too. The spar intensified. Guy opened the sixth gate, his power spiking to Jonin commander levels. His afternoon tiger, a technique that fired compressed air as a massive projectile, roared toward Naruto with enough force to level buildings. Naruto caught it. Not dodged, not redirected. Caught the air pressure technique with his bare hands using absolute Aiki, dispersed the energy harmlessly, and smiled at Guy's shocked expression. Good technique, but you're still holding back. I'm at my safe limit, Guy protested. Opening the seventh gate in training would finally make this interesting, Naruto interrupted. Come on, Guy-sensei, you've taught me to push past limits. Show me what you can really do. Guy hesitated. The seventh gate was dangerous, even for him. Opening it meant accepting severe damage in exchange for catastrophic power. But Naruto's eyes held genuine anticipation, the look of someone who desperately wanted a real challenge. Very well. Guy's chakra exploded as he opened the gate of wonder. His body began emanating blue sweat from the sheer stress. His speed increased beyond anything humanly possible. And his next attack, Daytime Tiger, was so powerful it created a vacuum effect that pulled in air from hundreds of meters away. Naruto's demon back manifested fully, all three faces grinning with savage joy. This was what he'd been waiting for, an opponent pushing themselves to genuine limits. He met the Daytime Tiger head-on with Hanma Bloodline Awakening, a state where his genetic superiority manifested as reality-warping physical prowess. The collision created a shockwave that shattered windows and buildings a kilometer away. The training ground beneath them cratered. Trees in the surrounding forest bent away from the impact point. When the dust cleared, both fighters stood breathing hard. Guy's gate was closing, his body already showing the strain. Naruto was bleeding from multiple lacerations where Guy's speed had actually tagged him, rare injuries that proved the spar had been genuine. Now that, Naruto said with a grin that held actual respect, was fun. Guy collapsed, exhausted but smiling. Your turn to carry me to the hospital, youthful student. Naruto picked up his sensei like he weighed nothing. You're getting soft, old man. Used to be you could maintain sixth gate for an hour. Used to be you couldn't catch my afternoon tiger barehanded, Guy countered. We've both evolved, my student. The question is whether the world can keep up with us. As they headed toward Konoha's hospital, Lee and Neji fell into step beside them. This was Team Fist, 4 individuals who pushed each other to heights the shinobi world hadn't thought possible. Lee could now fight Jonin-level opponents through pure taijutsu mastery. Neji had transcended Hyuga limitations to develop his own fighting philosophy. Guy had reached the pinnacle of what human bodies could achieve through training alone, and Naruto had surpassed them all while simultaneously raising them higher. Did you notice during the spar? Neji asked quietly. Naruto adapted to Guy-sensei's 7th gate mid-fight. By the end, he was predicting attacks that should have been impossible to track. That is Naruto-kun's most terrifying ability, Lee agreed. Not his strength or speed, though those are incredible. It's his capacity for evolution through combat. Every fight makes him stronger. Every challenge refines him. He's like a predator that learns from each hunt. Evolution through combat, Naruto said, having obviously heard them despite the distance. That's what I call it. The ability to adapt, overcome, and improve specifically because someone's pushing me. It's why I love fighting strong opponents. They make me better. And why you get bored fighting weak ones, Neji concluded. Because they don't challenge you enough to trigger that evolution. Exactly. Naruto's expression became thoughtful. That's why I need to find stronger opponents. Someone who can make me struggle, make me truly adapt. The Demon Slayers were disappointing. Guy Sensei at 7th Gate is close, but he can't maintain it. He paused. I need what that guy Ashura represented. Someone operating on my level consistently. You'll find them, Guy said from his shoulder carry position. Power attracts power, and you, my student, are becoming such an overwhelming force that the world's strongest will eventually seek you out just to test themselves. They didn't know how prophetic those words would prove. The international response to the 5 Kage Summit's failure was immediate and dramatic. Since diplomatic solutions had failed, each village began implementing their own strategies for dealing with the Uzumaki problem. Cloud Village doubled down on their Jinchuriki program. B, the Eight Tails host, began training with other candidates to develop combination techniques specifically designed to counter Naruto. Their Raikage authorized unsealing of forbidden lightning release jutsu that hadn't been used since the Third Shinobi War. Stone Village took a different approach. Onoki personally began developing what he called the Dust Release Ultimate, a technique that could theoretically disintegrate anything on a molecular level. He reasoned that if Naruto's strength came from his physical body, removing that body from existence was the solution. Mist Village, under Mei's pragmatic leadership, chose a middle path. They established an intelligence network dedicated solely to tracking Naruto's movements and capabilities, while simultaneously reaching out to Konoha for potential alliance arrangements that included Uzumaki cooperation clauses. Sand Village, with Gaara as Kazekage, made the most interesting choice. They did nothing. Gaara's experience fighting Naruto had taught him that trying to counter overwhelming force was futile. Instead, he focused on ensuring Sand never gave Naruto reason to target them specifically. And Konoha? Konoha tried to pretend they had any control over their most powerful weapon. Hiruzen called Team Fist to his office 1 week after the summit. The Hokage looked exhausted, his pipe smoldering as he reviewed reports scattered across his desk. "Do you know," he said without preamble, "how many formal complaints I've received about you in the past 3 years, Naruto?" "No," Naruto replied honestly. "I don't track paperwork." 173. From civilians whose property you've destroyed during missions. From nobles whose guards you've accidentally injured. From other villages whose shinobi you've killed, some of whom were technically allies at the time. If they were allies, they shouldn't have gotten in my way. Hiruzen sighed. That's exactly the attitude that's causing problems. The other Kage are convinced you're out of control, that Konoha is harboring a rogue element more dangerous than any missing nin in the bingo book. "They're not wrong," Naruto said with a shrug. "I am more dangerous than any missing nin. Difference is I'm fighting for Konoha, not against it." "Are you?" The Hokage's question was quiet but pointed. "Because from where I sit, it looks like you're fighting for yourself. You take the missions that interest you, ignore the ones that don't, and approach everything like it's personal combat practice rather than representative of village interests." Naruto leaned forward, his expression serious for once. "Old man, I've killed enemies you couldn't touch. I've prevented invasions through sheer intimidation. I've made Konoha's name feared across the continent. What more do you want?" "I want you to understand that power without purpose is just destruction," Hiruzen replied. "Yes, you're strong, phenomenally strong, but strength alone doesn't build villages, doesn't create lasting peace, doesn't matter," Naruto interrupted. "You want to know what I've learned in 3 years of being the strongest? That everything else is built on the foundation of strength. Your politics, your diplomacy, your careful alliances, they all exist because people fear what happens if they fail. And what they fear most right now is me." He stood, and despite being in the Hokage's office, despite being technically subordinate to the village leader, his presence dominated the room. "I'm not out of control. I'm exactly what you need me to be. A weapon so sharp that enemies think twice before testing Konoha. The fact that I also enjoy using that weapon doesn't make it less effective. Hiruzen met his gaze steadily. And when that weapon decides it doesn't want to serve Konoha anymore, what happens then? Then you'd have a problem, Naruto admitted. But that's not happening. You know why? Because Konoha is where Team Fist is, where the people who've actually pushed me to grow are, where the strongest opponents eventually come to challenge me. His smile returned. I'm not loyal to your title, old man, but I'm loyal to this place because it keeps me from being bored. It was perhaps the most honest answer Naruto had ever given. Not pretty, not politically acceptable, but true. He stayed because Konoha served his interests, and his interests happened to align with protecting the village. It was symbiotic, pragmatic, and completely lacking in the idealistic loyalty Hiruzen had hoped to inspire. But it was also unshakable, because as long as Konoha continued providing what Naruto wanted, challenges, strong opponents, opportunities to test himself, his protection was absolute. I suppose that will have to do, Hiruzen said finally. But Naruto, understand, the world is changing because of you. Other villages are preparing things that might actually pose a threat. When those threats emerge, I need to know you'll fight them as Konoha's shinobi, not as a lone wolf. I'll fight them, Naruto said. Not because you're ordering me to, but because anyone strong enough to be considered a threat to me sounds interesting. After Team Fist left, Hiruzen sat alone in his office, staring at reports about international weapons development programs, forbidden technique research, and increasingly desperate attempts by other villages to find an Uzumaki counter. The world was indeed changing, and he suspected it would change even more dramatically before stabilizing again. He was right. The first sign of the coming storm arrived 3 months later in the form of a messenger from Cloud Village. Not a simple courier, but an Anbu commander carrying a scroll sealed with the Raikage's personal mark. Hiruzen read the message 3 times, his expression darkening with each reading. Then he summoned Team Fist immediately. When they arrived, he wasted no time. Cloud Village is hosting what they're calling the International Combat Exhibition. Representatives from all 5 great villages but several smaller nations. Officially, it's a demonstration of new techniques and training methods. Unofficially, he looked at Naruto directly. It's a test. They want to see if their anti-Uzumaki preparations have worked. They're baiting me, Naruto said, amused rather than insulted. Hoping I'll show up so they can try whatever they've developed. Yes, and we're accepting. Lee's eyes widened. Lord Hokage, surely walking into an obvious trap is strategic, Guy interrupted, understanding immediately. If we refuse, it shows weakness, implies we're afraid of what they've prepared. But if we go, if Naruto dominates despite their preparations, it sends a message that counters the very purpose of their exhibition. Exactly, Hiruzen confirmed. Naruto, this mission has international implications. You will be representing Konoha in front of dignitaries from every major nation. Your conduct will be the same as always, Naruto interrupted. I'll show up, fight whoever they put in front of me and win. Whether that's diplomatic or not isn't my problem. Hiruzen pinched the bridge of his nose. At least try not to kill anyone unless absolutely necessary. This is meant to be an exhibition, not an execution. I'll try, Naruto said, his tone suggesting he wouldn't try very hard. But if they put someone interesting in front of me, I'm not pulling punches just to spare their pride. The journey to Cloud Village took 3 days. Team Fist traveled quickly but without urgency. There was no point arriving early to an event specifically designed to target Naruto. Let them wait. Let the anticipation build. Let every village's representative wonder if Konoha would actually send their most dangerous weapon into an obvious trap. When they finally arrived at Cloud's arena, a massive stone coliseum built into the mountains, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Thousands of spectators filled the stands. Dignitaries from every nation occupied special boxes. And in the arena floor, waiting with barely contained aggression, stood the competitors. Cloud had assembled a team specifically for this. Their best Jonin, their most skilled Anbu, and B, the 8-Tails Jinchuriki, considered one of the strongest shinobi alive. Stone sent their explosion corps, specialists in demolition techniques who'd supposedly developed a method to bypass physical defenses entirely. Mist sent 3 seven-swordsman wielders, legendary shinobi who carried blades with supernatural properties. Sand sent their puppet corps elite, though Gaara himself wasn't present. Interesting. And from various smaller villages came individuals with reputations for specific abilities: genjutsu masters, seal experts, Kekkei Genkai users with unique bloodlines, all assembled for one purpose, proving they could fight the Ogre of Konoha. Stood in the center of the arena, his voice amplified by chakra to reach every spectator. Welcome to the International Combat Exhibition. Today, shinobi from across the world will demonstrate the pinnacle of our craft. Techniques refined through generations, power cultivated through dedication, and most importantly, his gaze found Naruto in the competitor's area. Proof that no single individual, regardless of reputation, can stand against the united strength of the shinobi nations. The crowd roared approval. The competitors readied themselves. The dignitaries leaned forward with interest, and Naruto smiled. Did he just declare this whole thing is about me? He asked Lee and Neji conversationally. Apparently, Neji replied, quite the honor really, about an entire international event designed specifically to prove you're not invincible. They're going to be disappointed. The exhibition began with individual demonstrations. Each village's representatives showed their techniques, their power, their preparedness. Cloud's Ambu demonstrated lightning techniques that struck faster than eye could track. Stone's explosion core detonated controlled blasts that pulverized targets on a molecular level. Mist's swordsmen displayed blade techniques that could cut through chakra itself. It was impressive, genuinely impressive. These weren't academy students or mediocre chunin. These were elite shinobi at the peak of their abilities, demonstrating why their villages were considered great powers. Then came the main event, challenges. The format was simple. Any competitor could challenge any other competitor to a match. Judges would call the fight if it became too one-sided or dangerous. Victory earned prestige for your village. Defeat meant humiliation. Naturally, everyone wanted to challenge Naruto. The first challenger was a Cloud Jonin named Darui. Young, talented, possessing a unique storm-release Kekkei Genkai. He stood across from Naruto in the arena, clearly nervous but determined. I've studied your fight recordings, Darui said. Analyzed your patterns. You rely on overwhelming physical force and adaptability. My storm release should counter. Naruto appeared in front of him mid-sentence and flicked him in the forehead. The Jonin flew backward, crashed into the arena wall, and didn't get up. Match time. 2 seconds. The crowd went silent. Then erupted in mixed reactions, some cheering for the dominant display, others angry at the dismissiveness. Next, Naruto called out. The Explosion Corps representative charged immediately, not wanting to give Naruto time to prepare. His technique, Explosion Release, Landmine Fist, was designed to detonate on contact, creating blasts that ignored physical durability. It was a good counter in theory. In practice, Naruto employed Ogre's Territory, an area of effect technique that suppressed opponents' abilities through pure killing intent and chakra pressure. The explosive technique fizzled before it could activate. Naruto's palm strike to the man's chest ended the fight. Match time, 5 seconds. 3 of Mist's 7 swordsmen challenged him together. A tactical decision meant to overwhelm him with multiple legendary weapons simultaneously. They attacked with perfect coordination, their blades cutting patterns through the air that should have been impossible to defend against. Naruto caught all 3 swords, literally grabbed the legendary blades mid-swing with his bare hands. His grip was so strong that when the swordsman tried to pull back, the weapons didn't budge. Then he demonstrated bone dust technique, striking each swordsman with precision that reduced their skeletal structures to powder without killing them. They collapsed, but lived, too crippled to continue. Match time, 12 seconds. The pattern continued. Challenger after challenger, technique after technique, every village's best attempt at proving they could match the Ogre of Konoha. And every single one failed with such casual ease that it stopped being impressive and became almost comedic. A genjutsu master from a minor village attempted his ultimate illusion, one that supposedly trapped victims in eternal nightmares. Naruto broke it by simply flexing his killing intent hard enough to dispel the chakra construct. Match time, 3 seconds. A seal expert tried to trap him with paralysis seals inscribed into the arena floor. Naruto's chakra overwhelmed them before they could activate, and his kick sent the expert into unconsciousness. Match time, 4 seconds. A taijutsu specialist from Stone employed techniques specifically designed to counter physical fighters. Naruto showed him what actual mastery looked like, dismantling his entire style in a demonstration that was more educational than combative. Match time, 20 seconds, but only because Naruto was teaching rather than just winning. By the time 15 match had concluded, all victories for Naruto, none lasting more than 30 seconds, the atmosphere in the arena had shifted from anticipation to something between awe and dread. Then B stepped forward. The Eight-Tails Jinchuriki was different from the previous challengers. His reputation was earned through actual combat against S-rank threats. His partial Jinchuriki transformation gave him power comparable to small armies, and his unique fighting style, combining 7 swords with unpredictable movement patterns, had never been defeated in direct combat. "Yo, Uzumaki," B called out, his tendency to rhyme evident even in formal challenge. "They say you're the best, put all to the test, but the Killer Bee's gonna show who rules, gonna school you with these tools." Naruto's smile widened. Finally, something that might be interesting. A Jinchuriki. Now we're talking. The match began, and immediately it was different. B's speed was legitimate, his power substantial, his technique refined through decades of practice. His 7 swords created a defensive web that most opponents couldn't penetrate. His partial Eight-Tails transformation gave him strength that actually matched Naruto's base level. For the first time in the exhibition, Naruto had to defend seriously. B's lightning release, Lariat, a technique that had supposedly killed Jonin in single hits, came at Naruto with devastating force. Naruto employed absolute Aiki, redirecting the attack's momentum, but B adapted mid-assault, transitioning to a sword strike that Naruto had to dodge rather than deflect. "Good," Naruto said, his demon back beginning to manifest. "You're actually making me try." B's response was to activate more of the Eight-Tails' power. Chakra cloaks formed around him, tails manifesting behind him, his power spiking to levels that registered on sensors throughout the arena. He attacked with combinations that blurred the line between swordplay and pure chakra manipulation. Naruto met him head-on with Hanma Bloodline Awakening, his genetic superiority manifesting as reality-warping strength. They exchanged blows that created shockwaves, each impact strong enough to crack the reinforced arena floor. The crowd watched in stunned silence. This wasn't the one-sided domination they'd seen before. This was an actual fight between 2 monsters, each one capable of destroying armies alone. B employed his ultimate technique, Tailed Beast Bomb, a sphere of concentrated bijuu chakra that could level mountains. He fired it point blank, giving Naruto minimal time to respond. Naruto punched it. The Tailed Beast Bomb exploded from the impact, but Naruto had struck at precisely the right angle to redirect the blast upward into the sky rather than into the arena. The resulting explosion lit up the clouds like a second sun. When the light faded, Naruto stood unmarked, his demon back fully manifested with all 3 faces grinning in savage joy. "Finally! Someone who can actually push me!" He activated Predator's World, the psychological pressure technique that made opponents see their deaths. But B's connection to the Eight-Tails meant he had 2 consciousnesses to resist with. The technique affected him but didn't paralyze him. Their exchange intensified. B's swords versus Naruto's fists. Bijuu chakra versus Hanma genetics. Speed versus power versus technique in a combination that pushed both fighters to their limits. But ultimately, the outcome was inevitable. Because while B was fighting at his maximum, Naruto was still adapting, still employing evolution through combat to refine his responses mid-battle. Each exchange taught him more about B's patterns, more about how to counter bijuu-enhanced techniques. When the finishing move came, it was almost beautiful in its simplicity. B attempted his 8-sword style, a technique using all 7 swords plus a knife held in his mouth. Naruto waited until the precise moment when B was committed, then employed 0-point strike, targeting the instant between B's heartbeats when his chakra cloak flickered for a microsecond. The strike connected. Not fatally, Naruto pulled it at the last moment, but with enough force to knock B unconscious and disrupt his transformation, the Eight Tails Jinchuriki collapsed. Naruto stood over him, breathing only slightly harder than normal. Match time. 3 minutes 47 seconds. The arena erupted in chaos. Some spectators cheered the incredible display. Others sat in shocked silence. The dignitaries began hurried conversations, their carefully laid plans for countering Naruto clearly insufficient. A, standing in his Kage box, looked like he'd aged 10 years. His ultimate weapon, his brother, his village's greatest pride, defeated by a boy not yet 20 years old. Naruto looked up at the Raikage's box. Anyone else? Or are we done with this exhibition? Silence answered him. Not because there were no more challengers, but because everyone who'd watched the past hour understood the fundamental truth Naruto had been demonstrating. There was no counter to overwhelming superiority. No technique, no coordination, no special training that bridged the gap between peak humanity and whatever Naruto had become. I believe, Hiruzen said from Konoha's box, his voice carrying across the arena, that the exhibition has concluded. Konoha thanks Cloud for their hospitality and the opportunity to demonstrate our shinobi's capabilities. It was diplomatic wording for "we've made our point, let's leave before this becomes an incident." As Team Fist departed the arena, surrounded by awed whispers and fearful glances, Lee spoke quietly. "Naruto-kun, was that restraint you showed against B-san?" "Of course," Naruto replied. "If I'd fought seriously, he'd be dead. The Eight Tails is tough, but not tough enough to survive my actual combat techniques at full power." "You defeated a Jinchuriki while holding back," Neji said thoughtfully. "The international implications of that display will be significant." "Let them be significant," Naruto said with a shrug. "Maybe now they'll stop wasting my time with these exhibitions and send someone who can actually fight." Guy walked slightly behind his students, observing their dynamics with pride mixed with concern. Team Fist had indeed become legendary, perhaps too legendary. The world was running out of opponents who could even challenge them, let alone defeat them. What happened when the strongest had no one left to fight? The answer came 6 months later in the form of an organization that would reshape the shinobi world's entire power structure. Akatsuki, the name meant daybreak, but their methods were pure darkness. A group of S-rank missing nin, each one powerful enough to be considered a village-level threat individually. United under a mysterious leader with ambitions that went beyond simple conquest. Their goal: capture all nine-tailed beasts and harness their power for purposes unknown. Their first open move, attacking Suna to capture the one-tail from Gaara. Konoha received a distress signal at dawn. Suna's request was desperate. 2 Akatsuki members had infiltrated the village, defeated multiple Jonin teams, and were currently battling Gaara himself. They needed immediate assistance. Hiruzen summoned Team Fist without hesitation. "Suna is our ally. Gaara is the Kazekage. If Akatsuki succeeds in capturing the one-tail, it sets a precedent that makes every Jinchuriki a target, including Naruto. So they're coming for me eventually," Naruto said, his expression showing interest rather than concern. "Good. I was wondering when someone interesting would show up." "This isn't a game," Hiruzen snapped. "Akatsuki members are S-rank missing men. The 2 who attacked Suna are reportedly Sasori of the Red Sand, a legendary puppet master, and Deidara, an explosion specialist with unique clay techniques. Both have killed Jonin with ease. Then they'll make better practice than the exhibition challengers," Naruto replied. "When do we leave?" "Immediately. But Naruto," Hiruzen's expression was serious. "Capturing a Jinchuriki is one thing. Killing another village's Kage is an act of war. If you engage Akatsuki, you need to understand the political ramifications of." "I understand that if they're strong enough to challenge Gaara, they're worth fighting," Naruto interrupted. "Everything else is your problem, not mine." Team Fist departed Konoha within the hour, moving at maximum speed towards Suna. The journey that normally took 3 days, they completed in 1 through constant movement and minimal rest. They arrived to find Suna in chaos, buildings destroyed by explosions, puppet corpses scattered through streets, and in the desert outside the village, a battle that shook the dunes. Gaara's sand techniques versus clay explosives that detonated with artistic precision. Gaara was losing. Not because he was weak. The Kazekage had grown significantly stronger since the Chunin exams, but because he was fighting two S-rank opponents simultaneously, while protecting his village from collateral damage. His sand formed defensive walls to prevent explosions from reaching civilians, which limited his offensive options. Sasori's puppets, each one a masterwork of poison and blades, attacked from every angle. Deidara's clay creatures, birds, spiders, even dragons, exploded with enough force to crater the landscape. Together, they were overwhelming Gaara's absolute defense through sheer volume of attacks. Then Team Fist arrived. Naruto's entrance was characteristically subtle. He fell from the sky like a meteor, cratering the ground between Gaara and the Akatsuki members hard enough to create a shockwave that disrupted everyone's footing. "Sorry we're late," Naruto said, standing from the impact crater without a scratch. Traffic was terrible. Sasori's expression, visible through his puppet body, showed calculation. "Naruto Uzumaki, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Perfect. Leader Sama wants you captured eventually anyway." "You can try," Naruto replied, his demon back beginning to manifest. "But you should know, I'm having a really good day and beating the shit out of S-rank criminals sounds fun." Deidara laughed, riding his clay bird overhead. "Confident, yeah. But confidence means nothing before true art. Watch as my explosive mastery reduces you to..." Naruto threw a rock. It wasn't a technique. No chakra enhancement. Just a rock picked up from the crater and thrown with absurd strength. It hit Deidara's clay bird mid-flight, and the impact destroyed the construct completely, sending the Akatsuki member plummeting. He managed to land safely using another clay creation, but his expression had shifted from amusement to shock. "How did you?" "You talk too much," Naruto interrupted. He addressed Gaara without taking his eyes off the Akatsuki members. "You okay, princess?" Gaara, despite the insult, actually smiled slightly. "I can continue fighting, but assistance is appreciated." "Good. Lee Neji, you handle Puppet Boy. Guy Sensei and I will take Explosion Artist. Gaara, rest and recover. We've got this." The Akatsuki members exchanged glances. Sasori spoke first, his voice emotionless through the puppet. "You're dividing forces against S-rank opponents. Tactically foolish." "We don't do tactics," Lee said, cracking his knuckles. "We do overwhelming force." "Right, Neji." "Unfortunately accurate," Neji replied, activating his Byakugan. "Let's make this quick. I have better things to do than fight puppet enthusiasts." The battle began properly. Lee and Neji engaged Sasori, their teamwork refined through years of fighting together. Lee's speed let him dodge puppet attacks that would have killed most jonin. Neji's Byakugan identified the chakra threads controlling the puppets, allowing him to sever connections with gentle fist strikes. Sasori adapted quickly. He was legendary for a reason, deploying his 100-puppet army technique. Literally 100 puppets, each one armed with poison and blades, attacking in perfect coordination. Lee opened the fifth gate immediately, his speed increasing to levels where he could fight multiple puppets simultaneously. Neji employed his newly perfected rotation, creating an absolute defense that destroyed any puppet that came close, while also severing chakra threads through the rotational force. "Impossible," Sasori muttered, watching two opponents systematically dismantle techniques that had destroyed entire squads. "How can Mir?" Lee appeared in front of him, his fist driving through 3 puppets to reach the core where Sasori's real body hid. "We're not Mir anything. We're Team Fist." Meanwhile, Naruto and Guy faced Deidara in the sky, Guy using chakra platforms to fight aerial, while Naruto simply jumped, his physical strength letting him reach heights that should have required flight techniques. Deidara unleashed everything in his arsenal. Clay spiders that latched onto targets before exploding. Birds that dive-bombed with kamikaze precision. Even a dragon that fired explosive spheres like artillery. Each explosion was calculated to maximize destruction. Each pattern designed to overwhelm defenses. Guy opened the 6th gate, his speed matching the explosion's mid-detonation. Naruto employed absolute Aiki, redirecting explosive force away from himself and toward Deidara's own creations. The sky became a battlefield of light and sound, each detonation powerful enough to be seen from Suna. "My art," Deidara screamed, frustrated by his techniques being countered. "You Philistines don't understand. True art is an explosion," a moment of perfect beauty before. Naruto caught him midair. One hand grabbed Deidara's throat, the other crushed the hand with the mouth-shaped clay creation. "Your art is boring. Let me show you real beauty." He threw Deidara toward the ground with enough force to create a crater on impact. Before the Akatsuki member could recover, Guy landed beside him and delivered a daytime tiger that would have killed a normal human. Deidara survived, barely, through emergency clay creation that absorbed most of the impact. But he was done, beaten, his chakra reserves depleted, his techniques countered, his body broken. On the ground, Sasori fared no better. Lee and Neji had destroyed his 100-puppet army, shattered his defensive constructs, and were currently dismantling his core puppet body piece by piece. Retreat, Sasori called to Deidara through gritted teeth. We've underestimated Konoha's forces. Tactical withdrawal is... Naruto appeared between them in the escape route, his demon back fully manifested. You came here to capture a Jinchuriki. Now you want to leave without finishing? That's disappointing. We'll return, Sasori promised, already activating some kind of space-time technique through his remaining puppet. This isn't over, Uzumaki. Leader Sama has plans for you specifically. Plans that will. Naruto punched the space-time distortion. It shouldn't have worked. Space-time techniques were supposed to be intangible, impossible to physically interact with. But Naruto's strength combined with Hanma Bloodline Awakening meant he could force reality to bend, literally punching a hole through the jutsu that was transporting the Akatsuki members away. Sasori's core puppet shattered from the backlash. Deidara's emergency escape clay detonated prematurely, wounding him further. Both Akatsuki members managed to escape, but barely, and only because Naruto let them, interested in seeing what this leader Sama would do next. As the dust settled, Gaara approached Naruto slowly. You saved my village. And me. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Naruto replied. They'll be back, and next time they'll bring more members, better techniques, actual preparation. His smile was anticipatory. Should be interesting. Suna's recovery took weeks. The damage from the Akatsuki attack was extensive. Buildings destroyed, Jonin killed, civilians traumatized. But more significant was the political shift it created. Gaara, recognizing that Akatsuki would target all Jinchuriki eventually, proposed a formal alliance with Konoha, not the standard diplomatic treaty, but a genuine mutual defense pact with information sharing and coordinated responses to the Akatsuki threat. Hiruzen accepted immediately, recognizing that unity among Jinchuriki was essential for survival. But the Akatsuki attack had done something more important than damage buildings or threaten alliances. It had given Naruto a preview of what was coming. An organization of S-rank criminals, each one powerful enough to challenge villages, united under leadership with ambitions that required capturing all tailed beasts. In other words, finally, an actual challenge. Over the following months, Akatsuki's pattern became clear. They were systematically targeting Jinchuriki, starting with the weaker hosts and working their way up. The Two Tails from Cloud was captured, its Jinchuriki killed. The Six Tails from Mist disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The Four Tails and Five Tails from smaller villages were taken despite desperate defenses. Each capture refined Akatsuki's methods. Each victory made them bolder. And each success brought them closer to their ultimate targets. The Eight Tails and Nine Tails. B went into hiding under Cloud's protection, surrounded by Anbu guards and defensive techniques. His capture attempt had been repelled, barely, by coordinated village defense, but it recognized they'd gotten lucky. Naruto, characteristically, refused any kind of protective custody. When Hiruzen suggested keeping him in the village under guard, Naruto's response was simple. Let them come. I want to fight their entire organization at once. Sounds fun. The world was changing. Traditional village power structures were becoming irrelevant in the face of threats like Akatsuki. Jinchuriki, previously seen as weapons to be controlled, were now strategic assets requiring international cooperation to protect. And at the center of it all stood Naruto Uzumaki, simultaneously the most valuable target and the most dangerous defender. Akatsuki wanted his power. The villages wanted his protection. And Naruto himself just wanted strong opponents to fight. What happened when unstoppable force met immovable object? The world was about to find out. The confrontation came 6 months after the Suna attack, in a location chosen specifically for maximum symbolic impact. The Valley of the End, the legendary battleground where Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha had fought their final battle. Akatsuki sent 5 members, not their full force, Leader Sama was apparently being strategic, but 5 S-rank criminals, each one legendary in their own right. Itachi Uchiha, the man who'd slaughtered his entire clan, possessing Sharingan abilities that bordered on unstoppable. Kisame Hoshigaki, the monster of the hidden mist, wielding Samahada, a sword that consumed chakra, Kakuzu, an immortal with 5 hearts, each one granting a different elemental nature. Hiden, a cultist whose jutsu made him functionally unkillable while allowing him to transfer damage to opponents. Pain, the leader's proxy, possessing the Rinnegan, eyes that supposedly surpassed even the Sharingan. 5 S-rank opponents, working in perfect coordination, each one capable of destroying elite Jonin teams alone. They stood on Madara's statue, looking down at where Naruto waited on Hashirama's. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Naruto Uzumaki, Pain called out, his voice carrying across the valley with unnatural clarity. We've been watching you, studying you. Your strength is remarkable, your potential even more so. Join Akatsuki, and you'll have opponents worthy of your abilities. Refuse, and we'll extract the 9 tails by force. 5-on-1, Naruto observed, ignoring the offer completely. You think you need 5 S-rank criminals to take me? I'm flattered. We've seen your capabilities, Itachi said, his Sharingan already active. Defeating B required effort. Killing you will require more. Then let's find out who kills who. The battle began instantly. Pain attacked with his Devapath ability, using gravitational manipulation to pull Naruto toward him, a technique that should have been irresistible. Naruto resisted through pure strength, his muscles straining against reality-warping force. Kisame took advantage, swinging Samahada in an arc designed to drain Naruto's chakra on contact. The sword connected and shattered. Not the legendary blade itself, but the chakra-draining mechanism inside it, overwhelmed by Kurama's power combined with Naruto's own reserves. Impossible, Kisame gasped, staring at his damaged weapon. Nothing's impossible, Naruto replied, his demon back manifesting fully. You're just not strong enough. Kakuzu attempted to capitalize on the distraction, firing multiple elemental techniques simultaneously. Fire, lightning, wind, earth, water, all converging on Naruto's position from different angles. It was a combination that had destroyed fortified positions before. Naruto employed Ogre's territory, his area of effect dominance suppressing the techniques mid-flight. The elemental jutsu fizzled as they entered his sphere of influence, disrupted by sheer killing intent and chakra pressure. Your legendary techniques, your forbidden jutsu, your ultimate powers, Naruto said, his voice carrying Yujiro's characteristic dismissiveness. I've seen them all. None of them matter. Hidan charged with his scythe, attempting to draw Naruto's blood for his ritual. Lee intercepted him mid-swing. Team Fist had arrived as backup despite Naruto insisting he didn't need it. Apologies for the interruption, Lee called out cheerfully, but we couldn't let Naruto-kun have all the fun. Neji engaged Itachi, his Byakugan versus the Sharingan, in a clash of legendary dojutsu. Guy opened the 7th gate immediately and challenged Kisame, recognizing the swordsman as someone who required serious effort, which left Pain, Kakuzu, and Hidan for Naruto. 3 S-rank opponents who'd killed Jonin commanders, destroyed villages, and survived battles that should have killed them, against one boy who'd been reincarnated with the spirit of the world's strongest creature. The match should have been closer than it was. Naruto demonstrated why he was considered the ultimate predator. His transcendent scanning analyzed all 3 opponents simultaneously, identifying weaknesses in their techniques and predicting attack patterns before they executed them. His evolution through combat adapted to their fighting styles mid-battle, learning and countering at speeds that made their coordination meaningless. Pain's gravitational manipulation? Naruto resisted through strength alone, his muscles overpowering reality-warping force. Kakuzu's immortal hearts? Naruto employed bone dust technique to systematically destroy them one by one, reducing the hearts to powder before they could regenerate. Hidan's transfer damage ability? Naruto simply hit him so hard and so fast that the cultist couldn't complete his ritual before being rendered unconscious. It wasn't a fight. It was a systematic demonstration of overwhelming superiority. Pain, recognizing the battle was lost, attempted his ultimate technique, Chibaku Tensei, a jutsu that created a massive gravitational sphere designed to trap and seizure themselves. The sphere began forming, pulling in earth and stone and everything nearby with irresistible force. Naruto looked at it approaching and employed his ultimate technique, the fusion of Yujiro's spirit and shinobi chakra that he'd been developing in secret. Hanma's absolute dominion, a state where his physical presence became so overwhelming that reality itself bent to accommodate his existence. He punched the Chibaku Tensei. The gravitational sphere shattered like glass. The technique that had supposedly sealed bijuu, that had been Pain's ultimate weapon, destroyed by a single punch backed by absolute dominance. Pain stared in disbelief. That's impossible. The Rinnegan's power can't be beaten by physical strength. Naruto finished, appearing in front of Pain before the leader could react. Wrong. Everything can be beaten. You just need to be strong enough. 0-point strike targeted Pain's heart between beats. The Akatsuki leader collapsed, his Rinnegan eyes wide with shock as his body shut down. Around them, the other battles concluded. Lee had defeated Hidan through a combination of speed and the gates technique, destroying the cultist's ritual components before he could use them. Neji had matched Itachi's Sharingan with his Byakugan and superior physical technique, proving that Dujutsu superiority wasn't absolute. Guy had beaten Kisame unconscious despite the swordsman's legendary stamina. 5 S-rank Akatsuki members lay defeated. Team Fist stood victorious, barely winded despite fighting opponents who terrorized the shinobi world. Is this it? Naruto asked the fallen Pain. Your organization's best members, and they couldn't even make me use Kurama's chakra. Pain coughed blood, his body shutting down from the 0-point strike's damage. But he smiled through the pain. This wasn't our best, just a test. Leader Sama wanted to see if you were worth his personal attention. Then tell your leader to stop wasting my time with tests and come fight me himself, Naruto said. Because if this is the level of threat Akatsuki represents, I'm disappointed. Pain's eyes closed. His body went still. The battle at the Valley of the End would become legendary. Stories would spread about how 5 S-rank criminals, each one capable of destroying elite forces, had been defeated by a single Konoha team. How the Ogre of Konoha had shattered techniques that supposedly couldn't be overcome through physical strength. How Team Fist had proven that traditional power structures and legendary abilities meant nothing before true mastery. But more importantly, it sent a message to Akatsuki's true leader, whoever that was, that Naruto Uzumaki was beyond their current capabilities. That capturing the Nine Tails would require more than sending even legendary members. It would require the leader himself. And that leader was preparing something that would shake the shinobi world to its foundations. The aftermath of the Valley of the End battle reshaped international politics overnight. 5 S-rank criminals defeated. The Akatsuki's momentum halted. And all because of one Konoha team led by a boy who'd become something beyond classification. The 5 Kage held an emergency summit, this time not to discuss controlling Naruto, but to coordinate a response to the Akatsuki threat. The organization was clearly more dangerous than anyone had anticipated, possessing resources and techniques that rivaled village-level power. But during the summit, something unexpected happened. A messenger arrived with information from multiple independent sources, all confirming the same impossible truth. Akatsuki's leader was Nagato Uzumaki, a distant relative of Naruto's, possessing the Rinnegan through unknown means, commanding the organization from a hidden location. But he wasn't working alone. Behind Akatsuki, funding it, providing resources and techniques, stood someone from legend itself, Madara Uchiha, or someone claiming to be him. The revelation was staggering. Madara Uchiha, the legendary founder of the Uchiha clan, the one who'd fought the first Hokage to a standstill, was supposedly still alive, working behind the scenes to capture all tailed beasts for purposes that went beyond simple power accumulation. Hiruzen received the intelligence and immediately understood the implications. If true, the shinobi world faced a threat that made even Akatsuki's previous actions look like warm-up exercises. Madara, in his prime, had been considered equal to Hashirama Senju, the god of shinobi. If he'd survived and was now moving openly, the Hokage summoned Team Fist to his office. The walls were covered with intelligence reports, tactical assessments, and increasingly desperate contingency plans. We've confirmed Akatsuki's leadership, Hiruzen began without preamble. Nagato Uzumaki, possessing the Rinnegan, commanding the organization from a hidden location we haven't identified. And behind him, he paused. Behind him is someone claiming to be Madara Uchiha. Guy's expression became serious. Lee looked confused. Neiji's eyes widened. Naruto's expression didn't change. Madara's supposed to be dead, Neji said carefully. He died fighting the first Hokage decades ago. Supposed to be dead? Hiruzen agreed. But intelligence suggests otherwise. Multiple sources confirm someone with Madara's techniques, Madara's chakra signature, and knowledge only Madara should possess is leading Akatsuki's overall strategy. Is he strong? Naruto asked, his first contribution to the conversation. Hiruzen looked at him steadily. Madara Uchiha in his prime fought the first Hokage, the strongest shinobi who ever lived, to a standstill. His Sharingan abilities were legendary. His techniques redefined what shinobi combat could achieve. If he's truly alive and has been preparing for decades, he trailed off, the implications clear. Sounds interesting, Naruto said, his smile widening. When do I get to fight him? That's not. Hiruzen started, then stopped. There was no point lecturing Naruto about treating existential threats as entertainment. The concern is that Madara's ultimate goal involves the infinite Tsukuyomi, a genjutsu that supposedly enslaves the entire world's population. To achieve it, he needs all nine-tailed beasts. So he's coming for me eventually, Naruto concluded. Good. I've been waiting for someone who might actually be on my level. Guy stepped forward. Lord Hokage, if Madara is truly alive and targeting Jinchuriki, the logical response is coordinated defense. All remaining Jinchuriki, Naruto and B, protected by combined village forces while we locate and eliminate Akatsuki's leadership. That's the current proposal, Hiruzen confirmed. Cloud has agreed to temporary alliance. Mist and Suna are willing to contribute forces. Even Stone, despite their traditional isolation, recognizes the threat. I'm not hiding, Naruto said flatly. You want to protect B? Fine. Send armies, techniques, whatever. But I'm not sitting in some fortified location waiting for Madara to come find me. If he wants the Nine Tails, he can come take it himself. Naruto, this is beyond arrogance. Madara Uchiha is just another opponent, Naruto interrupted. Strong? Probably. Legendary? Definitely. But still just another person who thinks they're invincible until someone proves otherwise. His demon back flickered into existence briefly. I've proven otherwise to everyone who challenged me so far. Madara won't be different. The summit reconvened with Naruto's position made clear. He would not accept protective custody, would not limit his movements, and would actively seek out Akatsuki's leadership if they didn't come to him first. It was insane, tactically unsound, politically destabilizing. It was also completely in character, and nothing anyone said would change his mind. The Hokage accepted it reluctantly, recognizing that trying to force Naruto into compliance would create more problems than it solved. Instead, they focused on their defensive preparations for when Madara made his move. Because everyone understood, this wasn't about if Madara would move against Naruto. It was about when and whether the shinobi world could survive the collision between two forces of absolute dominance. The war was coming. Not the traditional conflicts between villages over territory or resources. A war for the future itself, fought between beings who transcended normal shinobi limitations. And Naruto Uzumaki stood ready to face it with the same attitude he'd approached every challenge. Overwhelming confidence backed by overwhelming strength. And an absolute refusal to accept any outcome except total victory. The stage was set. The players were moving, and the shinobi world watched with held breath, knowing that whatever happened next would reshape reality itself. To be continued in Part 2, Section 2. Note, due to the 20,000 word limit, the continuation will be split into sections. This is Section 1, covering the immediate post-Part 1 timeline through the Akatsuki confrontation. Section 2 will cover the war arc equivalent and epilogue. Continuation 2, the War of Predators. The catalyst for total war came 3 months after the Valley of the End battle, in a manner nobody anticipated. Madara didn't attack the remaining Jinchuriki. Instead, he declared war on the entire shinobi world. The message was delivered simultaneously to all 5 great villages through a technique that projected his image directly into their Kage offices. The figure claiming to be Madara Uchiha appeared as a swirling vortex pattern, his voice carrying the weight of legend. "I am Madara Uchiha," the image said. "You've hidden the 8 tails and 9 tails Jinchuriki, prolonging the inevitable. So I make this declaration. In 72 hours, I will attack all 5 great villages simultaneously using the power I've accumulated. You can surrender the Jinchuriki now and spare yourselves, or you can resist and watch your villages burn." The image paused, then focused specifically on Konoha, and to Naruto Uzumaki, the boy who thinks overwhelming strength makes him invincible. "I offer a personal challenge. Face me alone at the Valley of the End in 72 hours. If you defeat me, Akatsuki disbands. If I defeat you, I take the 9 tails and proceed with my plan unopposed." The image dispersed, leaving the Kage in stunned silence. An attack was impossible. Even with all the power Akatsuki had demonstrated, attacking all 5 great villages simultaneously required resources beyond any organization's capabilities. It was a bluff designed to draw out the Jinchuriki, except intelligence reports over the next day confirmed it wasn't a bluff. Massive chakra signatures appeared near each great village. Reanimated corpses of legendary shinobi, brought back through Edo Tensei and enhanced beyond their original power. The first and second Hokage attacking Konoha, past Mizukage attacking Mist, legendary Kage from Stone and Cloud rising from graves to assault their former villages, and controlling them all through some technique that shouldn't exist, was Madara, or whoever claimed that name. The attacks began precisely 72 hours after the declaration. Reanimated legendary shinobi versus current village defenders. It should have been a massacre favoring the attackers. Legendary techniques combined with immortal bodies made the reanimated nearly unstoppable. But the villages had prepared. Combined forces, coordinated defenses, techniques specifically developed to counter Edo Tensei. The battles were brutal, casualties high on both sides, but the villages held. All except one problem. The reanimations were just distraction. While villages fought legendary corpses, Madara's real target was the Jinchuriki. And he planned for Naruto's predictable response to the personal challenge. Naruto arrived at the Valley of the End alone, as expected. Not because he was following orders or accepting terms, but because the idea of fighting someone who claimed to be equal to the first Hokage was too interesting to resist. Madara was waiting on Madara's statue, appropriate symbolism. Up close, he was different than the image had suggested. Masked, yes, but his presence was substantial, real. His chakra signature was massive, comparable to bijuu themselves, and his eyes, visible through the mask's opening, held the Sharingan in a pattern Naruto had never seen. "You came," Madara said, his voice carrying approval. "Good. I was hoping you'd have the courage to face me directly." "You declared war on the entire shinobi world just to get my attention," Naruto replied. "Seems like overkill. The war serves multiple purposes. But yes, you specifically were the primary target, because you, Naruto Uzumaki, are the key to everything." Madara's Sharingan spun. "You possess the 9 tails. You've demonstrated strength that defies normal limitations. And most importantly, you're the one obstacle that conventional force can't overcome." "Flattering," Naruto said. "So what's your actual plan? Infinite Tsukuyomi, enslaving everyone in Genjutsu, becoming god of the new world, the usual megalomaniac stuff?" Madara actually laughed. "You've done your research. Yes, the infinite Tsukuyomi is the goal, a world where everyone's dreams become reality. No more war, no more suffering, perfect peace through perfect illusion." "Sounds boring," Naruto said flatly. "Perfect peace means no challenges, no struggles, no strong opponents to fight. Why would I want that?" "You wouldn't," Madara agreed. "Which is why I'm offering you an alternative. Join me. Help me capture the 8 tails, and I'll create a world where you have endless strong opponents, perfect challenges, infinite growth, everything you actually want." Naruto considered this for approximately 3 seconds. "No, your perfect world is just running away from reality. I prefer the real world, where I'm actually the strongest, not some illusion where you control everything." "Then you've chosen death." Madara attacked with speed that actually impressed Naruto. Space-time techniques combined with Sharingan precognition to strike from unexpected angles. His first attack phased through defenses using Kamui. His second came from a dimension Naruto couldn't perceive. His third bypassed physical resistance entirely. Naruto employed absolute Aiki combined with transcendent scanning, redirecting attacks he could perceive and dodging those he couldn't. The exchange happened in microseconds, both fighters moving at speeds that created after images, but then Madara demonstrated why he was legendary. He activated the Rinnegan. His Sharingan shifted to purple rings, and suddenly his capabilities multiplied. He could absorb chakra techniques, repel physical attacks, summon creatures from other dimensions, even revive himself if killed. Combined with his space-time mastery and immortal body, he'd apparently transferred into a vessel that wouldn't age. He became something beyond normal classification. For the first time since Ashura, Naruto faced an opponent who might actually be superior. Their battle destroyed the Valley of the End. Madara's techniques reshaped terrain, created dimensional tiers, summoned meteors from the sky. Naruto's strength shattered those techniques, punched through dimensional barriers, destroyed meteors with his bare hands. Hanma's absolute dominion manifested fully, Naruto's presence becoming so overwhelming that even Madara's reality-warping techniques struggled to function properly. But Madara had centuries of combat experience, forbidden knowledge from multiple eras, and powers that shouldn't exist. They were matched. For hours, they fought, neither gaining permanent advantage, neither able to land a finishing blow. Madara's immortality meant killing him was difficult. Naruto's regeneration, enhanced by Kurama's chakra, meant disabling him was equally challenging. Then Madara revealed his actual plan. "This battle was never about defeating you directly," he said, activating something Naruto hadn't perceived. "It was about keeping you occupied while my forces captured the Eight Tails." Naruto's expression shifted from excitement to cold fury. "You used the oldest trick in warfare, division of attention," Madara finished. "While you fought me, while the villages defended against reanimations, my elite forces infiltrated Cloud and extracted B. The Eight Tails is now captured. With only the Nine Tails remaining, the infinite Tsukuyomi is inevitable." Naruto's killing intent exploded outward, so intense it actually disrupted Madara's space-time techniques temporarily. "You think I care about your plan? You think capturing B changes anything? I'm going to kill you for making me waste time on a distraction." But before he could attack, reinforcements arrived, not for Madara, but for Naruto. Team Fist having fought through reanimated shinobi to reach the valley, and with them, unexpectedly, was Gaara leading a coalition force from Suna. "You're not fighting alone anymore," Guy said, already opening the seventh gate. "This has become bigger than personal combat. This is survival of the shinobi world." Madara assessed the new arrivals and made a tactical decision. "Another time, Uzumaki. We'll finish this when I have all 9 bijuu." He activated his space-time technique, but before leaving added, "You're strong, stronger than I anticipated, but strength without purpose is just destruction. Consider my offer, join me, or watch everyone you know trapped in eternal dream." He vanished. Naruto stood breathing hard, fury radiating from every pore. Not because he'd been unable to defeat Madara, though that frustrated him, but because he'd been outmaneuvered, used as a distraction while the actual objective was achieved elsewhere. "B was captured?" he asked quietly. Gaara nodded. "Our intelligence confirms it. Cloud's defenses were overwhelmed by reanimated forces and Akatsuki elites working in coordination. B fought valiantly but was outnumbered. The Eight Tails is now in Madara's possession." "Which means the Nine Tails is his final target," Neji concluded. "And with 8 bijuu powering him, Madara's capabilities will increase exponentially." Lee looked at Naruto with concern. "Naruto-kun, you fought Madara for hours. Was he stronger than you?" Naruto's answer was honest. "Matched, maybe slightly superior in specific techniques, but not overwhelmingly so." Which means, his smile returned, predatory and anticipatory. "Means our rematch is going to be interesting." The coalition forces regrouped at a secure location, while the villages licked their wounds from the simultaneous attacks. Casualty reports were devastating. Thousands dead, legendary shinobi killed again through Edo Tensei before being resealed, village infrastructures damaged. But more significantly, the attacks had achieved Madara's strategic objective, proving the villages couldn't defend against coordinated assault from his forces while protecting their Jinchuriki. The next attack would likely succeed in capturing the Nine Tails unless something changed dramatically. The 5 Kage held an emergency council, this time with Naruto present as an actual participant rather than nuisance. "We need a decisive strategy," I said bluntly. "Madara has 8 bijuu. His forces include legendary shinobi through Edo Tensei and Akatsuki's remaining members. Conventional defense won't work." "Then we go on offense," Naruto said. "Stop waiting for him to attack. Find his location and strike first." "With what forces?" Onoki demanded. "Our villages are damaged. Our shinobi are exhausted, and Madara can hide in dimensions we can't access." "Then we force him out," Gaara suggested. "Make the Nine Tails bait he can't resist. Draw him into a battlefield we control, with coordinated forces ready to strike when he appears." "You're proposing using Naruto as bait," Mei said thoughtfully. "Risky, but potentially effective." "I'm not bait," Naruto corrected. "I'm the trap. Difference is that bait gets caught. Traps catch things." They refined the strategy over hours of planning. The location would be an open battlefield chosen for maximum visibility and minimum civilian collateral. All 5 villages would contribute their strongest remaining forces. Sealing specialists would prepare binding techniques specifically designed to counter Madara's space-time abilities. And Naruto would stand alone in the center, an irresistible target for someone who needed the Nine Tails. It was a gamble. If Madara saw through the trap, he could attack elsewhere or simply wait them out. But if he took the bait, if his arrogance or determination to complete his plan overcame caution, they'd have one chance to end the threat permanently. The battlefield was prepared in neutral territory between fire and earth countries, a massive plain with clear sightlines in all directions. Sealing arrays were inscribed into the ground, hidden beneath earth but ready to activate. Allied forces positioned themselves in concealed locations around the perimeter, and in the center, alone, stood Naruto Uzumaki. He looked relaxed, almost bored, like someone waiting for a sparring partner rather than the most dangerous shinobi alive. His demon back was visible but not fully manifested, a promise of what would come when the fight began. Madara appeared 6 hours after they established the position. No subtlety, no hidden approach. He simply manifested from his space-time technique in the center of the battlefield, confident in his superiority. "You're making this easy," Madara said, his Rinnegan eyes assessing the situation immediately. "A trap, sealing arrays hidden in the ground, allied forces positioned around the perimeter, and you as the centerpiece." He smiled beneath his mask. "Did you think I wouldn't notice?" "Don't care if you noticed," Naruto replied. "You're here, that's all that matters." Madara's chakra exploded outward, massive beyond anything Naruto had felt, except perhaps Kurama at full power. But it wasn't just Madara's chakra. It was the combined power of 8-tailed beasts, fused together and controlled through the Rinnegan's authority. "I've achieved what no one in history has managed," Madara said, his voice carrying across the battlefield. "Control over 8 bijuu simultaneously, perfect synchronization between their powers, and the knowledge to employ them at maximum efficiency." His eyes locked onto Naruto. "The Nine Tails will complete my collection. Surrender it willingly, and I'll make your death painless." "Or," Naruto countered, his demon back manifesting fully with all 3 faces grinning savagely, "I beat you so thoroughly you remember what it means to lose." The signal was given. Sealing arrays activated, creating barriers designed to prevent space-time escape. Allied forces emerged from concealment, launching coordinated attacks from multiple angles. Hokage-level techniques combined with forbidden jutsu created a bombardment that should have destroyed anyone. Madara tanked it all. The combined bijuu chakra formed an impenetrable defense, techniques that could level mountains dispersed harmlessly against it. And when he countered, reality itself bent. Planetary devastation, the Rinnegan's ultimate technique, created massive gravitational spheres that pulled in everything nearby with irresistible force. Allied forces scattered, trying to avoid being crushed. Sealing specialists found their techniques disrupted by the sheer power output. Only Naruto stood his ground, employing Hanma's absolute dominion to resist the gravitational pull through strength alone. His muscles strained against force that warped reality, but he didn't move. "Impossible," Madara muttered. "That technique has sealed bijuu. You can't resist it through physical strength alone." "Watch me." Naruto punched the gravitational sphere. The impact created a shockwave that disrupted the technique's foundation. Madara's eyes widened as his ultimate technique, the one that had never failed, shattered from a single punch. Then the real battle began. Madara deployed all 8 bijuu simultaneously, their combined forms manifesting around him as chakra constructs. Each one attacked independently while sharing consciousness, creating a coordination impossible for normal summons. The one-tails sand techniques, the 8-tails ink attacks, the 2-tails blue flames, all employed perfectly to overwhelm any defense. Naruto met them head-on using every technique he developed. Seismic impact series to disrupt their footing, bone dust technique against physical constructs, absolute Aiki to redirect chakra attacks, evolution through combat adapting to their patterns mid-battle. Around them, the allied forces fought Madara's support, reanimated legendary shinobi, Akatsuki's remaining members, and creatures summoned from other dimensions. Guy opened the 8th gate of death, his power spiking to levels that let him fight multiple reanimations simultaneously. Lee and Neji coordinated with Gaara's sand techniques to seal enemy forces. The Kage employed their ultimate jutsu, each one contributing to preventing Madara's escape. But the central battle was between Naruto and Madara, two beings who transcended normal limitations, fighting for supremacy. Madara revealed technique after technique, limbo clones existing between dimensions, perfect Susanoo armored in bijuu chakra, truth-seeking orbs that disintegrated anything they touched. Each one should have been unstoppable. Each one Naruto countered through adaptation and overwhelming strength. Hours passed. The battlefield became a wasteland of craters and destroyed techniques. Allied casualties mounted despite their preparations, and both primary combatants showed signs of exhaustion. Madara's chakra reserves depleting despite 8 bijuu supplementing them. Naruto's body bearing injuries that proved even his regeneration had limits. Then Madara made his final gambit. "You're stronger than I anticipated," he admitted. "Possibly stronger than even Hashirama in his prime. But strength alone doesn't win wars. Strategy does." He activated something Naruto hadn't perceived, a seal hidden within his own body, designed specifically to extract the Nine Tails through proximity. Naruto felt Kurama's chakra being pulled from him, drawn toward Madara through a connection that bypassed physical resistance. "What?" "A sealing technique developed specifically for your situation," Madara explained. "It doesn't fight your strength. It simply extracts what I need through force connection. In moments, the Nine Tails will be mine, and you'll be." Kurama roared within Naruto's mindscape, and for the first time since forming their partnership, the fox intervened directly. "I'm not being extracted by this parasite." Kurama's voice thundered through Naruto's consciousness. "Use my chakra, all of it. Show this pretender what happens when predator meets prey." Naruto's body erupted with red chakra as Kurama's full power manifested, not the controlled partnership they developed, but complete synchronization. Naruto's strength combined with Kurama's chakra infusion that created something neither could achieve alone. His form shifted, not quite Jinchuriki transformation, but something unique. His demon back absorbed Kurama's chakra, the 3 faces gaining 9 tails characteristics, his power spiking to levels that registered on sensors across the continent. Madara's extraction technique faltered, disrupted by the sheer volume of chakra now flowing through Naruto. "What is this? This shouldn't be possible. The Nine Tails can't willingly synchronize with a Jinchuriki to this degree." "You don't understand predators," Kurama's voice spoke through Naruto. "We recognize hierarchy, and this human," Naruto's grin was both his own and the fox's, "is apex. I follow him because he's stronger than me, not because he sealed me." The final exchange lasted 30 seconds. Naruto, empowered by complete synchronization with Kurama, employed Hanma's absolute dominion at maximum output. His presence became so overwhelming that Madara's space-time techniques couldn't function. Reality refused to bend for anyone except the apex predator. Madara deployed every remaining technique, truth-seeking orbs, perfect Susanoo, all 8 bijuu attacking simultaneously, even infinite Tsukuyomi in desperate attempt to trap Naruto in Genjutsu. None of it worked. Naruto's 0-point strike, enhanced to cataclysmic levels by Kurama's chakra, struck Madara between the heartbeats of all 9 bijuu simultaneously. The attack bypassed every defense, disrupted every technique, and hit Madara's core directly. The self-proclaimed god of the new world collapsed. His Rinnegan faded. His bijuu chakra dispersed, the 8 beast power returning to their separate seal containers. His body, sustained through forbidden techniques and transferred consciousness, began failing as the damage proved too extensive to maintain. "Impossible," Madara whispered, his voice weak. "I had everything. 8 bijuu, Rinnegan, Edo Tensei, centuries of knowledge. How could a boy defeat all of that?" "Because you were running from weakness," Naruto said, standing over the fallen legend. "All your techniques, all your power, all your plans, they were attempts to avoid the fundamental truth, that strength is the only thing that matters, and you weren't strong enough." Madara laughed weakly. "Perhaps, you're right. Perhaps I was running, but you..." His eyes focused on Naruto with something like respect. "You're truly the apex predator. No running, no excuses, just absolute strength." His eyes closed. "The shinobi world is yours now, Uzumaki. Do with it what you will." He died for the final time, his consciousness fading as the forbidden techniques sustaining him failed. The battlefield fell silent. Allied forces stared in shock at what they'd witnessed. The legendary Madara Uchiha, the man who declared war on the entire shinobi world, defeated by a boy not yet 25. Naruto stood in the center of devastation, Kurama's chakra receding as their synchronization ended. His demon back slowly faded, and his expression was disappointed. "That's it?" He asked the corpse at his feet. "You build up this whole legend, threaten the world, force me to use Kurama's full power, and you still weren't enough to push me past my limits?" Guy, his 8th gate closing, limped over with Lee supporting him. "Naruto, you just defeated the greatest threat the shinobi world has faced in generations, and you're disappointed?" "He was strong," Naruto admitted. "Stronger than anyone except maybe Ashura. But he relied too much on techniques, on borrowed power from bijuu, on tricks and plans. When it came down to pure strength against pure strength..." He looked at his fist, still bloody from the final strike. "I was stronger." Gaara approached from where he'd been coordinating sealing teams. "Is that all that matters to you? Being strongest?" Naruto considered the question seriously. "Yeah, because everything else, peace, politics, protection, only exists because someone's strong enough to enforce it. The shinobi world isn't ruled by Kage or councils or alliances. It's ruled by whoever's strong enough to make others listen." His gaze swept across the battlefield, taking in the allied forces who'd fought beside him. "And right now, that's me." It wasn't arrogance. It was simple statement of fact, proven through years of systematic demonstration. No one argued because no one could. The shinobi world had been saved. Madara defeated. Akatsuki destroyed. 8 bijuu recovered and returned to their respective villages. The infinite Tsukuyomi prevented, and all because one person had been strong enough to stop it. Epilogue: The reshaped world. 10 years passed. The shinobi world changed in ways both subtle and dramatic. The traditional village power structures remained, but everyone understood the reality. Konoha held ultimate authority because Konoha held Naruto Uzumaki. The position of Hokage had changed hands twice in those 10 years. Hiruzen retired, his age finally catching up with him. His successor, chosen through council decision, ruled with competence, but always with the understanding that their authority existed at Naruto's tolerance. Naruto himself refused the position every time it was offered. "Being Hokage is for people who want to deal with paperwork and politics," he'd said during the most recent offer. "I just want to fight strong opponents. Let someone else handle the boring parts." Team Fist had evolved significantly. Guy had fully retired from active duty, his body finally reaching its limits after a lifetime of pushing past them. He now trained the next generation, passing on taijutsu mastery while telling stories of his legendary students. Lee had become a jonin commander, leading elite taijutsu units with the same enthusiasm he'd shown as Genin. His speed was now legendary. Jonin, who'd once mocked his inability to use ninjutsu, now studied his techniques. He'd married a civilian woman who appreciated his dedication. Though she still worried every time he deployed, Neji had transcended the Hyuga clan entirely. His techniques had become so advanced that the main family tried to claim them as clan secrets, until Neji demonstrated they were his innovations, developed specifically to overcome the limitations traditional Hyuga doctrine imposed. He served as both a jonin and a teacher, training students in combat philosophy that balanced strength with precision. And Naruto? Naruto had become something beyond classification. His reputation had spread to the point where it affected international politics automatically. When villages negotiated treaties, one standard clause was, "This agreement remains valid unless Naruto Uzumaki decides otherwise." When criminals fled, they checked if their destination was anywhere Naruto might visit. When new techniques were developed, researchers considered, can this stop Uzumaki? As a baseline test, his kill count had reached numbers that no one bothered tracking anymore. Thousands, certainly. Maybe tens of thousands if counting war casualties. He'd personally ended 3 attempted coups by simply showing up and asking if anyone wanted to fight him. No one did, but more significantly, he'd changed what strength meant in the shinobi world. The traditional path, academy, jinin, chunin, jonin, kage, still existed, but everyone knew it wasn't the only path. Naruto had proven that individual mastery could transcend systematic advancement, that one sufficiently dominant person could reshape entire power structures. Younger generations trained differently because of him. More focus on actual combat capability, less on theoretical knowledge. More emphasis on pushing physical limits, less on relying purely on techniques. The ogre's method, as it came to be called, influenced how every village approached shinobi development. On this particular day, 10 years after Madara's defeat, Naruto sat on top of the Hokage monument, looking down at the village he'd protected but never ruled. Kurama's voice spoke in his mindscape, their partnership having evolved into something like genuine friendship. "You're bored again," the fox observed. "Always in these days," Naruto admitted. "No good opponents left. Madara was the last one who could push me. Everything since has been disappointing." "Perhaps that's the curse of being apex predator," Kurama suggested. "You wanted to be strongest. You achieved it. Now you face the reality. Being strongest means being alone at the top." Maybe. Naruto's expression was thoughtful. "But somewhere out there, there has to be someone who can match me. Another Ashura, another challenge that makes me evolve." His smile returned, predatory, anticipatory. "And when I find them, or when they find me, that'll be interesting." Below in the village, normal life continued. Civilians went about their business. Shinobi trained. Children played. All protected by a person who became legend through simple dedication to overwhelming strength. Team fists gathered occasionally, less frequently now than before, but their bond remained. Guy would tell stories of their missions, always embellishing Naruto's accomplishments while downplaying his own. Lee would demonstrate new techniques he developed. Neji would offer philosophical observations about their journey. And Naruto would listen, occasionally contributing, mostly just enjoying the company of people who'd been there from the beginning. "Do you regret anything?" Neji asked during one such gathering. "The path you chose, the people you killed, the reputation you built?" Naruto considered this seriously. "No, I became exactly what I wanted to be, strong enough that nothing can threaten what I care about. Yeah, I've killed people, lots of people, but they were either threats or weak enough to die easily. Either way, their death meant I was stronger." He looked at his former teammates. "And I protected what mattered. You three, Guy-sensei, the village, even that old Hokage before he retired. That's worth whatever reputation I built." "You're still an ogre," Lee said with a grin. "But you're our ogre." "Damn right." The sun set over Konoha, painting the sky in colors that matched the village's resilience. The shinobi world had been reshaped by one person's overwhelming dominance, for better or worse. Peace existed not through mutual understanding or careful diplomacy, but because everyone feared what would happen if they threatened it. Was it perfect? No. Was it stable? Questionable. But it was real, a world where strength determined hierarchy, where the strongest enforced peace, where apex predators ruled through demonstrated superiority rather than inherited authority. And at the top of that hierarchy stood Naruto Uzumaki, the reincarnation of Yujiro Hanma's spirit in a shinobi's body. The ogre of Konoha, the boy who'd systematically demolished every limitation placed before him. The man who'd proven that being strong meant being strong, nothing more, nothing less. His story had reshaped the world. His legend would outlive him, and his philosophy, that strength was the only truth that mattered, had become fundamental to how the shinobi world operated. Somewhere in the distance, lightning flashed across the sky. Naruto stood, stretching muscles that had destroyed legends. His demon back flickered briefly, 3 faces grinning with eternal anticipation. "Think that's a storm coming," he said to no one in particular, "or maybe just someone strong finally showing up to challenge me." Either way, he was ready, because being the strongest didn't mean resting. It meant constantly preparing for the next challenge, the next fight, the next opportunity to prove superiority. The shinobi world would continue turning. New threats would emerge, new challenges would arise, and Naruto Uzumaki would face them with the same approach that had carried him from academy student to living legend: overwhelming strength, absolute confidence, and the understanding that everything else was just noise before true power. He looked out over the village one more time, then disappeared into the night. Not to hide or retreat, but to find whatever fight was waiting out there. Because that's what predators did. They hunted, and Naruto Uzumaki was the apex predator in a world full of prey. The end.
And that's how Naruto becomes the ultimate predator in the shinobi world. If this transformation blew your mind, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss when we bring your favorite characters to life in ways you've never imagined. Drop a comment telling me which character should get the Hanma treatment next. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.